So this is going to large amount of data and their data analytics. So what we're going to happen is, when we said, in the second generation warfare, there was net-centric warfare, in which we relied on information superiority over the enemy. Today you're relying on decision superiority. So in a war engagement, if there were 10 decisions to be taken for application of force one after the other, in each and every engagement or decision of mine, I'll be better than yours, because this is based on better and better data and decisions. So hence I'll beat every cycle of decision from the adversary. So this would lead to digitization of the battlefield and intelligentization of the battlefield in some manner. And this is going to affect the other three elements which I said earlier. Sensors, so that the data from that can be analyzed. Robotics, so that automated kind of a kill chains can be produced. Celerity, speed, because unless things are networked, you'll not be able to pick up things faster. So this is going to produce another kind of revolution in warfare, which I said will lead to cognitive or decision superiority. So something similar. Green shoots of that were visible in Operation Sindoor. So, of course, there are many other technologies which are impacting warfare. They may be in space, cyber, quantum, many other. But I have just tried to outline 4 important trends in technology. In each of them, there could be hundreds of technologies, and that's going to affect warfare in future. So I said this third revolution in military affairs is known as convergence, because a number of things are converging together to revolutionize warfare. So because it's a convergence of data-centric warfare, celerity, and remote-centric warfare. It's a convergence of kinetic and non-kinetic, including cognitive, into one domain. It's a convergence of first revolution in military affairs with second and third. So we're not fighting only war which is in the third revolution, but there's a warfare which is maneuver warfare, and net-centric also taking place at the same time. It's a convergence of tactics, operational art, and strategy, because of the extreme non-linearity I've spoken about. Said all type of elements this is being done, elements is being fought. So it's going to converge old and new domains of warfare. When I say new domains in cyber, space, electromagnetic spectrum, cognitive, with old domains like land, sea, and maritime domain. It's going to converge time and space, both of them. So these are the kind of changes which may foresee in the future. And along with it, so what did we see? Did we see elements of this or green shoots of this in Operation Sindoor? Yes, and to us, I would say that this was the kind of first non-contact warfare which we fought. We didn't see each other. We saw each other either at radars or at different ranges, except for what was happening on the line of control. And it was a mix of kinetic and non-kinetic. When I say non-kinetic, that happened in the information domain, that happened in the cyber domain, and of course there was a kinetic operation where destruction was being caused to each other. It was also non-linear in nature. So there's something happening on the line of control and something happening as far back as Noor Khan or Sargodha. So at huge distances from the border, simultaneously, non-linearity. It was networked, means at least the defensive part of it. You must have read about it, that we had networked our air defense architecture of the Air Force and the Army and the maritime air defense architecture, Trigun, Akash Tir and IACCS into, so that they could give one comprehensive kind of a picture. So you can provide a layered kind of a one. So better information, faster information available to our side. We had also tried to kind of network our counter US system, which were countering drones. Not so much, but some kind of, in this 7, 10, 15 days, we were able to do that. So that I think, it was also multi-domain. The first time means we were using warfare was in maritime, land, air, cyber, space.
Breaking news coming in. Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan has issued a strong warning to Pakistan, saying that India will not tolerate nuclear threats. He has also said that Asim Munir was the one who spewed venom against India during the conflict. Remember, it was Asim Munir who had talked about the jugular vein and about two-nation theory. Listen in to that stern statement of the CDS General Anil Chauhan.
in 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And probably Ziaul Haq gave form to this particular doctrine of 1,000 years war. And someone added this 1,000 touch into it. And similar kind of venom was spewed by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just 2 days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam. So, since this is a regional distance, it can be also, I believe, that retracted because now Pakistan is faced with a different kind of a prospect that it faces military action in case we find terror happening against us. And also, we said that we'll have water as well as, this thing will not flow together. So we have kind of raised the bar. We have connected terror to water, and we have drawn out new lines for military operations against terror. Sometimes I feel this particular policy also got accelerated after Pakistan acquired nuclear weapons, and they tried to exploit this stability-unstability paradox. That's nuclear weapons will provide stability, strategic stability between the two nations, and below that, this terrorism can contain. But of course, what India has done now is there are now two red lines. Between these two red lines, it's opened up the space for conventional operations. So that's a major change which has happened after Sindoor.
That was CDS Anil Chauhan giving a very strong statement saying that it was Asim Munir who had planned the Pahalgam terror attack, that the hate speech was given ahead of the Pahalgam terror attack, that it was Asim Munir who had spewed venom against India. The CDS has also gone ahead to say that Asim Munir's hate speech against Hindus 2 days ahead of the Pahalgam attack. Remember, just to take you back into context, it was Asim Munir who had just days before the Pahalgam attack said that India and Pakistan are two different nations, hence giving out a two-nation theory. He later also went on to say that Kashmir is Pakistan's jugular vein, and referring to the same speech, this time it is CDS Anil Chauhan who has taken a very strong stand against Pakistan, this one specifically on Asim Munir, where he has said that Asim Munir spewed venom ahead of Pahalgam terror attack, and that it was Asim Munir's hate speech against Hindus that came just 2 days ahead of the terror attack that happened in Pahalgam. All right, Abhishek Kapoor is joining us from the newsroom on that. Abhishek, this is a very strong message that the CDS has sent, and this time referring to Asim Munir, clearly the two-nation theory that he had given, and also the jugular vein speech that Asim Munir had given in just 2 days before the Pahalgam attack.
Well, yes, Tanisha, the Chief of Defence Staff is speaking at a university in Pune. He's speaking on future of warfare, and so he's drawing some important lessons and takeaways from the kinetic part of Operation Sindoor. In fact, not just the kinetic part, the kinetic, non-kinetic and every other aspect. He has called it a multi-domain warfare. The first time that India has carried out this kind of non-contact multi-domain warfare against the enemy. And so he was setting the context while doing which he said that the trigger was provided by General Asim Munir with that rabid hate-filled speech against India in general and the Hindu community in particular. And then from there, how the Indian response really panned out, and multi-domain included not just the kinetic response by way of military, within which the Navy, Air Force, Army, all three were mobilized, but also included the diplomatic response, also included the information warfare, the grey zone warfare, and of course he was giving details of how India engaged with the enemy using all the options that were available. I think my takeaway or conclusion from the speech, which is still going on, Tanisha, is that India has really widened its spectrum of choices within the conventional domain between the kinetic response, the military response and the diplomatic response. And that's an important takeaway from that speech coming in of the Chief of Defence Staff. Remember, CDS, while in Singapore to participate in the Shangri-La dialogue, had mentioned or admitted to India losing some of its air assets without going into the details, and he was being panned for that. but it is clear that all this is being done as part of a larger transparency framework that's also, I think, getting embedded in India's military response to any a threat that emerges in future. And that's why this thought that while speaking, giving this special lecture on the future of warfare, he's underscoring all the takeaways and the lessons that India has drawn, its military leadership has drawn from Operation Sindoor.
Absolutely, Abhishek. Thank you very much for getting us those details. We'll keep a track on that story very closely. But for now, it's time for us to slip into a short break. And after the break, we'll get you details of how the Karnataka High Court has wrapped Kamal Hassan after they asked why has there been no apology. Also after the break is Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha sacking 3 government employees for alleged terror links. All that and much more after a break.
पाँच साल नैनी सेंटर में है तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है फिर छोड़ रहे हैं। आप कहा बैठे पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया, सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया 21 साल।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी, कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल नैनी सेंटर में है तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है फिर छोड़ रहे हैं। फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 103 साल।
हाँ साहब।
क्या हुआ था? कौन सा घटनाक्रम, किससे झगड़ा हो गया था जब आपको गिरफ्तारी?
साहब हमरे यह रहा है, हमारे चाची को मारे रहे, चंदा प्रभु नोखई, ये 4 मारे रहे हैं चाची के, देसराज महतारी के। तो फिर कलेसर देसराज मलेसर कल्लू, तो फिर अपन नहीं किए आए, फिर अपन जो है अपन झगड़ा मचा दिए।
जेल में कुल कितना साल काट दिए जीवन का? कितना, कौन उम्र में जेल गए थे?
अरे साहब बहुत उतारी उम्र हो गए। अगर साहब न मांगते तो रोगा जी को स्वामी का, तो हम कहा जाए कि कई साल का है, अपना उधार ले आओ, तो उधार ले आओ तो देखें का और नैनी सटर हुआ हिया को स्वामी भेज और 2 बांधी मार के
बेल मिल गई। इतना साल जीवन का जेल में गुजार दिए। अब पीछे देखते हो किससे शिकायत है?
हाँ कितनी शिकायत है?
किससे शिकायत है?
हाँ अब उन्हें शिकायत, जब हम सो रहे नहीं तो कहीं लाठी चल गए तो हमारे बेटो भैरा जगाई तो उठ के साहब देखा दुआरे केवाड़ खोल के तो सब खून खून खर्चा रहा, केवाड़ बंद के भीतर घुस गए कि हम उनको फंसा दिए। पेपर घुस कर नहीं निकला, फिर साहब पर मारी, फिर 4 रोज बाद लगी दवाई करा, फिर अस्पताल मर गया।
ये ऐसे जितने लोगों से झगड़ा हुआ था उनमें से कोई बचा है कि सबका देहांत हो गया?
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
बिबल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते, जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
5 साल नैनी सेंटर में है तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है फिर छोड़ रहे हैं। आप कहा बैठे पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया, सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया 21 साल।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी, कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल नैनी सेंटर में ही तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है कि फिर छोड़ गए। फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 103 साल।
हाँ साहब।
क्या हुआ था? कौन सा घटनाक्रम, किससे झगड़ा हो गया था जब आपको गिरफ्तारी हुई?
साहब हमारे यहाँ है, हमारे चाची को मारे रहे, चंदा, प्रभु, नुखई, ये चारों मारे रहे हैं चाची के, देशराज महतारी के। तो फिर कलेसर देशराज मलेसर का लू तो फिर अपन नहीं किए, अब तो नहीं किए आए। फिर अपन जो है अपन झगड़ा मचा दिए।
जेल में कुल कितना साल काट दिए जीवन का? कितना, कौन उम्र में जेल गए थे?
अरे साहब बहुत उतारी हो गए। अगर साहब ने मांगते दरोगा जी को स्वामी का तो हम कहा जाए कि कई साल का अपना उधार ले आओ, तो उधार ले आओ तो देखें का वो नैनी सेंटर हुआ यहाँ को स्वामी भेज और दो बंदी मार के
बेल मिल गई। इतना साल जीवन का जेल में गुजार दिए। अब पीछे देखते हो किससे शिकायत है आपको?
हाँ कितनी शिकायत साहब।
किससे शिकायत है?
हाँ अब उन्हें शिकायत जब हम सो रहे नहीं तो कहीं लाठी चल
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल बोलो जुबान कैसी?
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling, in order to build their own systems, etc. But they used the money to build Tarbela and the other dam, which is Mangala Dam, which is on the Indus, and the other one is on the Jhelum. Now, so they've not been honest right from the beginning. And whenever we wanted to do something as far as the Indus River is concerned,
I have seen what it takes to report from the front lines: accuracy, courage, urgency, and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not theory, it's live learning from a working newsroom from day one. Want to report the truth when it matters the most? Republic School of Journalism is where you begin. Courses begin on 30th June. Apply now.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते
सर फैंस हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना।
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
सिली में आए तो और
Cricket fans.
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्टर। अरे तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना? उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ?
है ना अंकल? फिंगर इनेबल सन।
पैडल शिफ्टर्स वो तो होंगे ही।
जस्ट पेडल्स।
डील्स और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना?
ये मिला।
हाँ? इन्होंने तो लॉलीपॉप ले लिया। क्या आप भी लेना चाहोगे? बिल्कुल नहीं। तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम। आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
5 साल नानी सेंटर में ही तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है फिर छोड़ गए। अब कहा बैठे अब पहले हुई कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching live and breaking at 2:30 p.m. I am Tanisha Awasthi. With 2:30 p.m., the Karnataka High Court has now begun hearing Kamal Hassan's petition. We're tracking all that and much more on this edition. But first, a quick check of the headlines.
In 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And similar kind of venom was fueled by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just 2 days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam.
Karnataka High Court traps Kamal Hassan, asks why no apology, says public figure cannot hurt public sentiments. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Jammu on June 6, first visit after Operation Sindoor. Telangana Congress chief sympathizes with Maoist, questions no talks. Why no talks with Maoist? Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha sacks 3 government employees for alleged terror links. Congress issues advisory to party leaders asking to not give statements deviating from party line. And we start this edition with big breaking news coming in, where we learn a massive expose from across the border has now been put out. Now, Pakistan's own dossier reveals how India struck 8 more targets under Operation Sindoor. Now, this is far deeper than officially acknowledged. Meanwhile, chaos in Karachi has already taken place. Prisoners are breaking out of Malir jail in midnight uprising, shaking Pakistan's security apparatus. All right, so that's the big breaking news coming in, where we learn that what was officially acknowledged is far from what has now been learned, where we learn that India had hit 8 more targets under Operation Sindoor. This is the big breaking news that's coming in, a massive expose from across the border. It shows how Pakistan's own dossier, this is Pakistan's own dossier, remember ladies and gentlemen, that has certainly revealed how India struck 8 more targets under Operation Sindoor. This has time and again been not acknowledged by Pakistan, but today the dossier has revealed it all. Now, this is far deeper than officially acknowledged by the officials. Senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor and Shravan Sen is joining us on that note. Shravan and Abhishek, what is this dossier all about? Give us all the details.
Well, it's typical to the Pakistani style, because they believed that this was going to be part of the propaganda machine. In fact, there is a dossier that the Pakistanis have actually revealed, and they basically say that there are a number of targets that were actually hit. Some targets that were not revealed so far. In fact, let me just take our viewers through what really happened on the 9th and the 10th itself. If you see in a sequential manner what India has done. First, you are looking at only the terror infrastructure that was struck on the 7th of May. Thereafter, what India had done was a measured response to what the Pakistanis had actually done. The Pakistanis started hitting out at the civilian areas. So if you remember, the very next day, a swarm of drones that came in, and they were basically targeting all our civilian areas, particularly around Punj. And not to forget, there are cities that were being targeted, like, for instance, Pathankot being one such, and Amritsar being the other. Thereafter, India said that if you have hit us, we are going to respond. That was a measured response. It is important to point out here. What India did thereafter was clearly a response, but this was also planned. Remember, as a contingency plan that India already had, they had the coordinates as far as these bases are concerned. So even before the military bases were actually targeted, the AWACS were basically hit, rendering some of the areas in Pakistan being completely vulnerable. And then came the Brahmastra, if I may say so, that the military bases were basically targeted. They were deep inside, and these military bases were targeted. Now let's come to the news point here. And therein I'm going to bring in Abhishek right now. Abhishek, they have revealed much more than what we had said this far. And I would say this is a clear Pakistani admission. Well, absolutely, Chauhan. And I think as I have gone through this dossier, this is essentially Pakistani propaganda material. They perhaps were making this for international audience and to try to impress upon them the fact that maybe India was irresponsible in its military response. But what is important is, and in fact, they go on to give a lot of information which otherwise might not have come in public domain. So what we have to understand is sift through it and see that they are acknowledging damage to their military infrastructure much beyond what India initially, came out with. Now the reason is because our first military objective out of this entire exercise of Operation Sindoor was to make sure that the terror targets are taken down, eliminated, which we did. And whatever else happened subsequently, as has been just underscored a while back in a special lecture by the Chief of Defence Staff himself from Pune, was that we were only calibrating our response so that we deter Pakistan from escalating. So in that escalatory metrics, when we realized that the Pakistanis are not really stopping at, they should not have in fact retaliated at all post May 7, but then because on May 8 and May 9 they continued, we hit them back with some decisive show of force, which took down 8 of their military bases. And because this time the targeting was of wider military infrastructure, the Pakistanis had more hits than going beyond from where, for example, the 8 military bases were targeted in a manner that their capacity to escalate further is taken down. So if they cannot fly out from Noor Khan base, from Rahim Yar Khan base, from Bolari Air Base, then obviously the escalation stops there. But apart from those places, now as can be seen from this dossier, there were other military targets that were hit. We did not mention it because those were not our prime, that was not our prime objective. But at least Pakistan is admitting that they were hit so badly. In fact, let's just quickly go back to that image that we have prepared for our audience right now. In fact, in that image, on your screens right now, what Abhishek we are going to do right now, take our viewers through all the list. We had basically spoken about 8 such targets. What the Pakistanis are saying on the 9th and 10th, in fact, Abhishek, they made 2 new mention. One is Jiang. Yeah, Jang. Jang, I beg your pardon, Jang, and the other happens to be, if I'm not wrong, you've already had all of them. Rawalpindi, we had already said. Yes. Lahore, we had
Yes.
said. Jang, we had said.
Yes.
Shokat, I'm not too sure. If you remember Shokat.
Shortcut is the new one. The Jang is the new one. Hyderabad is new one. And
Sukur.
if I can see,
Sukur we had already.
Sukur we had. Peshawar is the new one.
Okay.
Peshawar we did not mention. That's pretty far. It's the capital of the northwest frontier.
this is
the
east
Khyber
of Indus
Pakhtunkhwa, as it is
you're
called now.
looking at.
Yes. So I think what is important is that for the Pakistanis to, Chauhan, really admit, even by default, because remember this is their propaganda material, that these places were hit, clearly shows that
India's military strikes were far and deep and decisive. Because remember, if you look at the chronology of events, which was again underscored by the Chief of Defence Staff just a while back, basically Pakistan cried uncle within 8 hours of India's retaliatory strikes. So in a way, they had thought that their Operation Banyan, whatever, would go on for 48 hours and would sort of create a situation where India would surrender, which obviously India turned the tables on within the first 8 hours of the strikes. So this is essentially an underscoring of the scale of India's punitive strikes that happened on the night of May 9 and 10, May 10. And that's what brought Pakistan to the negotiation table with their DGMO really calling his Indian counterpart and then calling for truce.
Can I also just reveal one more aspect of it? And in fact, all our viewers, in a short while from now, in the next 20 minutes, we are going to reveal something more.
Yeah.
A man who was part of the advisory committee, in fact, has revealed much more. And just to take it forward from there, what really happened on the night of 10th of May, actually, when you have the bases that were basically targeted, what did the Pakistanis really do? The answer to this question perhaps in the next 20 minutes. But the reality is this, ladies and gentlemen, the Pakistanis themselves have now admitted that it is way beyond that what they had themselves imagined. It is not just a few of the military bases that were targeted. India did actually achieve much more than that. And as far as India is concerned, and as Abhishek has also been underscoring the point, this is a calibrated response. This is a measured response. And that is the reason why what India has been maintaining. First, it was the terror infrastructure. And as a response to the civilian areas that were basically targeted from these military bases were targeted so that you incapacitate their next move. And that's exactly what Abhishek has also highlighted at this point in time, Tanisha.
Absolutely, Abhishek and Shravan, that's a huge breaking news coming in. Also, the other point that I would like to raise here is these are the, like you were saying, that these are the places that were not officially given out, but this has come out in the dossier. That too, that has been given out by Pakistan. Let's go into the specifics now. We learned that few of these places that have been hit, the extra places that have been hit by India under Operation Sindoor, specifically 7 of them, are very close to the line of control as well. So what are those places?
Well, I'm not getting into the details of the questions or the pictures right now because this is part of the propaganda material of the Pakistanis. In fact, the Pakistanis believe that this is a counter strike that they are basically carrying, a counter view to what we have actually told the world.
I can speak on this, Chauhan, a bit. We are right, we are not going to show those pictures, but I am going through those pictures. You have seen these pictures. And remember, if you look at the global narrative, and nobody owes anything to us, yet none of these military experts who are known names in their own domain have picked up these this propaganda material of Pakistan. They have not spoken at all about this as any kind of evidence. And the Pakistanis can be so foolish that in one of those pictures that they have presented, they are themselves saying that these are altered images. So in a way, they do not have the courage to show the real picture themselves to their own people, or for putting in their own propaganda material. They have to admit that these are doctored images, and that I can read it exactly those words if I can find that page, because this is a long 20-minute dossier, a 20-page dossier. But I was amazed to see that thing written, that the Pakistanis are in a way admitting that this is all doctored material in a manner that they cannot really present the real picture. The fact that nobody has picked it up worldwide, forget about India, forget about Pakistan, nobody in the world, and remember, the global narrative otherwise has in some ways, unfortunately, condoned the terror indulgence part of Pakistan. Look at the way President Trump has behaved rather irresponsibly over the last month or so with his position on trade. But the fact of the matter is that this Pakistani material has been debunked, not shown interest to by the world experts, and now they're shooting in their own feet with, as they say, shooting themselves in their own foot with giving away more targets that were taken down. Clearly shows that India's strikes were deep and hard.
Well, in fact, just one quick point before I hand it back to you. As far as India's evidence is concerned, it was very well strategized. In fact, remember, the military all this while was never taught that you need to bring back evidence. And we have also learnt over a period of time that the evidence that we are going to now present to the world. Today, remember, all these images that you see of the military bases in Pakistan, they cannot be doctored because these are images that have been procured from global satellite companies. These are commercially available images for everyone to actually take a look. And that is the reason why each of these military air bases, be it Jacobabad, be it Bholari, or for that matter, Noorian Khan, these are military bases which have sustained heavy damages. And all of it, if you just take a picture of the day before and a day after, it's a clear example of the damage that has been inflicted. And in fact, an admission here too from the Pakistanis, in fact, as far as the tenders that they have floated. Just one quick point, because this is another point that Abhishek has picked up, is about the tenders that they are floating. Of course, we knew about the fact that they are now already repairing the airstrips, but it turns out that they are accepting the fact that they've lost their aircraft.
Yeah, absolutely. And, come out with tenders to say that for 10 days this work is to go on, clearly is an indirect admission that for 10 days Noor Khan Air Base is not available. Remember, it's right there in Rawalpindi. And the Pakistanis, so in a way, while they talk big about grey zone warfare, information warfare, etc., the sort of buffoonery they indulge in while doing so are some giveaways which the world community should take note of.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek. Now, that's the big news coming in. But in a short while from now, it's an unmissable interview that we have, and which basically perhaps takes off the lid of the lies that have been peddled by the Pakistanis.
Right, Abhishek and Shravan, thank you very much for sharing those details. Indeed, the 3:30 interview is certainly that one must watch out for. But for now, we move on to the other stories that we are tracking. And this one is from Noida, where just moments after a speeding Thar violently hit a youth, leaving him severely injured in Noida Sector 53. Now, we have access to video which shows the exact moment the scuffle broke out, after which the accused allegedly tried to run over him with the Thar. Now, the video of a scuffle has now been accessed by Republic. The police have taken the video into cognizance. A case has already been registered in connection with the incident. Now, a team has also been formed to arrest the accused. So, this is the exact moment when the scuffle broke out. The man in the black shirt and a black pant is the one who had later been run over by the Thar. This is the man who had been severely injured. He is in the hospital right now. And that's the exact moment of the Thar that had run over him. And this is just moments after the scuffle broke out. This incident is from Noida Sector 53. The speeding Thar hit a youth. Now, this happened just moments after a scuffle broke out between a few group of people and this man. We, however, have no details right now on what the scuffle was all about. But what we learn is that there are two videos that have now come to the fore. The first video of being the video of the scuffle, the moment when the scuffle broke out, and the second when after the fight, after the brawl, is when the Thar hit the man who was involved in the scuffle and pushed him into the pit. Akhil is joining us live on the broadcast on that. He has been tracking the story very closely. Akhil, what was the reason for the scuffle after which it broke out? Because we learned that both the groups, be it the victim or the accused, both have been equally involved in the scuffle. What was the reason and what's the update on the probe so far?
Well, Tanisha, if you see, a shocking video has come out in the foray in which it's very clearly seen that an SUV, a Thar vehicle, coming at a very high speed, and basically it rammed a strike into a person who was walking on the pavement. So at that point in time, what actually transpired, I spoke to the additional DCP of Noida, Sumit Kumar Shukla. He has confirmed this to us that initially what has happened, that the fight basically broke out over a social media post between two groups of people. The first group have argued that they should delete this post, and another group has argued that it's our deliberate choice to post that. And after that, a scuffle broke out, and and then due to this altercation, what we have seen that it has resulted into a physical assault in which one group of people have basically pushed that person, and when he started to restraining it, and then after that when he moved from this very place in sector 24 area of Noida, at that point in time from the back side he came in his SUV and just rammed his vehicle into that person who was just walking on that pavement. So at this point in time an FIR has already been launched by the Noida police in connection with the case, and the victim who basically got assaulted in this video, which is very clearly seen in the video footage that we have recovered, that person is being treated at sector 39 district hospital at this point in time.
Akhil, thank you very much for sharing all those details. So that's the latest that's coming in as far as the hit and run case is concerned in Noida. We move on to the other breaking news coming in, and this is in regard with Kamal Hassan's language row that he had triggered. In a huge breaking news, we learned that his movie Thug Life will not be released in Karnataka for now. That's the big decision that has been taken after the hearing took place in the Karnataka High Court, as Kamal Hassan has refused to apologize. Remember, the court had just pulled Kamal Hassan up just a few hours back when the hearing was underway, and now we learn that this order has been passed that his movie Thug Life will not be released in the state of Karnataka for now, as remaining defiant, the actor Kamal Hassan has refused to apologize. That's the big breaking news coming in. We'll take you through the details of what happened inside the court proceedings as well. We learn that the High Court had earlier pulled him up, saying that he is a public figure and he should not have made comments like these, soon after which we learned that the Karnataka High Court has taken the decision that the movie Thug Life will not be released in the state of Karnataka. Sharda, my colleague, is joining us live from Chennai on that. Sharda, what are the details of the hearing that took place inside the court? We learned that the court very strongly pulled up Kamal Hassan for not apologizing for the remark that he had made.
Well, at 12:30, the Karnataka High Court said that they'd be giving time to Kamal Hassan until 2:30, while the second hearing would be heard. However, the actor did not apologize but sent a letter to the Karnataka Film Chamber stating that he made the statement out of love and there was no connection in it on degree.
Sharda, please stay with us. I'm also being joined by Rhythm. Rhythm, what are the details of the hearing that took place inside the court? We learned that Kamal Hassan had been pulled up by the Karnataka High Court. What are the details that we are picking up right now?
I think, yes, we'll go back to Sharda in just a minute. I just want to quickly say, despite everything and all the words the High Court has said since morning, viewers, Kamal Hassan, actor, refuses to apologize. Apparently, he was in Dubai. He gives out a statement. Remember, in the morning today, the High Court absolutely admonished him and said, you've tried to create some sort of disturbance, disharmony. A person is creating a circumstance, it leads to disharmony, and still we are giving you a chance to apologize. His lawyers spoke to him. They came back at 2:30. They also said in the morning, a public figure cannot make such statements. You may be Kamal Hassan or anyone. You cannot hurt the sentiments of the masses. And therefore, today at 2:30, they expected Kamal Hassan to come before them with some apology. But a very strange statement comes from Kamal Hassan, and he says, I love Tamilians, I love Canadians, everything is all right. However, but there was no apology. And that is when the High Court said, you are standing on ego. It may be Kamal Hassan or anyone. It's hurt the sentiment of the masses. Finally, it has been decided that he is not going to be seeking police protection, and the court has recorded this order that this film is not going to be released, Thug Life, in Karnataka for now.
Right. Rhythm, one more question before I let you go. Does that also mean that the moment Kamal Hassan apologizes, the direction to release his movie Thug Life will then be given by the court?
Well, he's going to be coming before this court, Tanisha, in some time, which is possibly going to be next time when the court hearing takes place, after which it will be decided what has to happen. 10th of June, 3:30, another reply is going to be filed in the case. But for now, the refusal of the actor to give a proper apology, just a simple 5-letter word SORRY, sorry, is not able to be given out by him, and therefore we are seeing Kamal Haasan not refusing to apologize, the film Thug Life not to be released in Karnataka.
Right, Rhythm. Thank you very much for sharing those details. Shada continues to stay with me on the broadcast on that. Shada, what is the next move that Kamal Haasan will and his team will be taking forward with as far as his movie is concerned, which has been stopped from releasing in Karnataka for now?
Well, as Rhythm pointed out, there is another case that will be filed in the Karnataka High Court on the 10th of June, and following which the actor would be fighting it again, asking for the release of his film. However, the actor and his team continue to stay on the stance that they would not seek an apology because the actor turned politician believes that his statement was not wrong. Speaking to Republic, the Makkal Nidhi Mayam's representative told us that the party president and the leader will decide what is going to happen next, and that he will not seek an apology anytime soon. But and as he mentioned, this is not the first time Kamal Haasan's movie is facing trouble when it comes to its release, and that's what they are trying to fight it out again. And they are hoping that the film will be released later on a date and not on the exact date that's been released, but they're fighting it over the next few days. They're expecting it. However, we've got an information that the Karnataka to be released in theatres as the distributors had promised. There would be prominent protests outside theatres that would be releasing Kamal Haasan's Thug Life.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुलें तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960, 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling, in order to build their own systems, etc. But they used the money to build Tarbela and the other dam, which is Mangala Dam, which is on the Indus, and the other one is on the Jhelum. Now, so they've not been honest right from the beginning. And whenever we wanted to do something as far as the Indus River is concerned, they would always say that, look, this treaty has survived so many conflicts between India and Pakistan, nothing is going to happen. However, they did not know that this time they were dealing with a person called Narendra Bhai Damodar Das Modi, and we'd had enough, especially after the Pahalgam attack, that the feeling was that, oh, India will make some noise, India will lodge one protest here, there, everywhere, go to the United Nations, cry on America's shoulder, and then things would be back to normal. But this is not the India that they were used to. Now, what is the impact of this? First of all, as far as international
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां कैसी?
5 साल 9 सेंटर में तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ गए। अब कहा बैठे अब पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपका कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया, सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया। 21 साल।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी, कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल नैनी सेंटर में है, तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ गए। फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 100
Officially, we know that 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And similar kind of venom was fueled by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just 2 days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam.
Chief of Defence Staff Anil Chauhan, while speaking on Operation Sindoor, hits out at Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, saying that venom was spewed by Munir against India just 2 days ahead of the Pahalgam attack. Karnataka High Court wraps Kamal Hassan, says his movie Thug Life will no longer be released. Kamal Hassan remains defiant, refuses to apologize. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Jammu on June 6th, first visit after Operation Sindoor. Telangana Congress chief sympathizes with Maoists, questions why no talks with Maoists. Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha sacks 3 government employees for alleged terror links. Congress issues advisory to party leaders asking to not give statements deviating from party line. And breaking news now coming in. It's the biggest confirmation on Republic. Military advisor to Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor speaks exclusively to Republic, where he has said that we did not target nuclear bases and that it was hit. Listen in to this exclusive conversation.
I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned. In fact, a media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, you know, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
Where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top, no? So I'm not talking about their dialing. They are free to dial anybody in this world.
So we had something more in plan. And
Yeah,
we
so
were going to go
when
ahead.
they reached out to us and they said enough. So we said, okay, if you've learned a lesson, that's all right.
All right, the huge exclusive news break that Shravan Sen has got there. Shravan and Abhishek joining me on the newsroom, from the newsroom on that. Shravan, this is the military advisor to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, and this was during Operation Sindoor. Indeed, a huge revelation that's come out that we did not target the nuclear bases, that it was hit. It is a huge confirmation. Could this be a turning point, and what could it really mean for India?
Well, I'll let Abhishek answer that, but let me first put this into perspective, who this person is and why this is a significant comment. For all our viewers, we are talking to a man called Lieutenant General Khandare, who happened to be the military advisor to the Raksha Mantri till about the 16th of May. This is the very period when Operation Sindoor was still going on. So the time that Operation Sindoor was going on, Lieutenant General Khandare was very much part of the Ministry of Defence. In fact, he was the principal advisor. He is also the man who has served along with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, considered to be one of the strategic minds of our country. And for the first time ever, there was a lot of speculation about what was the turning point in Operation Sindoor, and did India really plan to stop? This comes from the very person who was monitoring all of this, was part of various discussions. Now, there is an in-depth, chronological events that have been put out by General Khandare. But before that, Abhishek, this is for the first time, very cleverly, very smartly put by General Khandare, where he's saying that, look here, we did not target them. Nuclear command centers were not targeted by India, and we maintain that. Yeah. In the process, if it has got hit. Now, we were always thinking if it got hit. Today, General Khandare is saying it got hit.
It got hit, and that's a big one, I think. So both ways. We did not target it, but it got hit. Now, the nuances that, as it happens, Shravan, in the fog of war, the Pakistanis realized that when it comes to the escalation metrics, India is controlling the escalation. India is controlling where it would go, which means, for a general, the biggest nightmare is not having control over the situation. And the Pakistanis, all the generals in Rawalpindi realized, because they were hit right there where they were sitting. Noor Khan Air Base is in Rawalpindi. And their special projects or plans division, which is essentially the command and control nerve center for their nuclear arsenal, warhead, etc. That is there just barely few hundred meters, or maybe less than 100, 200 meters from where this Noor Khan Air Base strike happened. So I think what General Khandare, and by the way, General Khandare is also someone who was Deputy National Security Advisor, who was there in the National Security Council for a long period of time. For him to be saying this from a position of responsibility that he occupied till just about a week or 10 days back, I think this is the clearest enunciation of how India really controlled the events during Operation Sindoor, leading up to May 10, when Pakistan really cried uncle. So I think this is yet another evidence, if one more at all was needed really, of how meticulous our planning was, that we will have deniability, we will have careful choice of targets, we will hit them where we want, we will go hard and deep as the instruction was from the Prime Minister, and we will make sure that all through this process, from planning to execution, we control the situation, we control the escalation, and not Pakistan.
Well, in fact, we're going to take this further. In fact, in a short while from now, we'll try and explain it for all our viewers, which is that particular location that we were talking about. When did this actually happen? And what really changed by the 10th? And why exactly did the Pakistanis suddenly retreat? And was India really planning to go ahead? This is something that was revealed by General Khandare in this exhaustive interview that we have done with him. But I want to once again go back to that very moment when we questioned him about what really happened, because there was a lot of speculation that was doing the rounds as far as the Pakistan nuclear command centers are concerned. And in fact, that very morning after this incident actually took place, it turns out Shehbaz Sharif had already called for a meeting. And I'm going to get into the details of it. What was that meeting all about? Why did Shehbaz Sharif call it? Why did the defense minister in Pakistan suddenly get so very jittery about this meeting that was called by the Pakistani Prime Minister? And how exactly, General Asif Munir really responded, because this is where we had got very, very close. And perhaps this is the reason why they had to dial United States of America. Let's listen in once again.
I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned. In fact, media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit, and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the
condition.
turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
Where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top, no? So I'm not talking about their dialing. They are free to dial anybody in this world.
So we had something more in plan. And
Yeah,
we
so
were going to go
when
ahead.
they reached out to us and they said enough. So we said, okay, if you've learned a lesson, that's all right.
All right.
To all,
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
Tanisha,
Shravan.
we'll try and explain this to all our viewers right now. Which was the facility that got actually hit and not targeted? Now the key word here is that we did not target. It got hit. Now to decipher this, Abhishek is already there. Abhishek, first I want to help our viewers understand which is the area that we are talking about, and what was the turning point that General Khandare is talking about.
So we are specifically talking about the Noor Khan Air Base, which is of course information already in public domain. And Noor Khan Air Base, where it is in Islamabad or Rawalpindi, a suburb of Islamabad. And this is where the Pakistani general headquarters are. Of course, some distance away, say about 10-15 kilometers away. But more specifically, Noor Khan Air Base is something which also has in its complex or just outside the Special Plans Division, which is a specific division which deals with the nuclear arsenal of Pakistan. And to have come that close, and despite clearly not wanting to hit any nuclear facility, to be getting that close, I think the Pakistanis realize the message here is, Shravan, the precision with which we could pick targets. And in fact, just about before this interview that you broke with General Khandare, we had Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan speaking at a university in Pune, and he mentioned, and I was listening to it, that we hit targets within a range of 3 square kilometers. That was the kind of precision with which our munition really went inside Pakistan and hit them hard. So the Pakistanis were really taken aback with this kind of scale of precision, and I think that's why they really cried and went to United States first, and then of course made that DGMO call. General Khandare very subtly indicating towards the fact that our strikes this time were so precise that the Pakistanis really realized that they do not have an answer, and if an escalation happens from here on, they would not be in control of the situation, and that's when they sued for peace.
Thank you very much, Abhishek. Now, Abhishek, putting this into perspective, Abhishek, before I bring in our guests who are going to join us in a short while from now, I want to take this a little further now. On the 10th of May, there were calls that were basically made, as you said, going to Uncle Sam. And this was actually happening. India, at that point in time, was already preparing that what next. General Khandare also says that we were not planning to stop. On the 10th, it would have continued. Is there any indication that you have got from the top level of sources that you were in touch? That is there any indication of where we were going?
Well, yes. So the escalation metrics, Chauhan, of which the military planners always talk about, was ready this time, like it was ready during the Balakot air strikes also. During the Uri surgical strikes, maybe the operation in terms of scale, when you compare them, compare that with the present ones, was not much. So I think we did not really go into that thought process to think whether we would actually be escalating beyond that. But like in the case of Balakot air strikes, so in Operation Sindoor, the escalation matrix was clear. And what my takeaway from your interview with General Khandare, Chauhan, is that we were at every stage, from the first air strikes which took down the terror infrastructure, to the drone swarms coming in from the Pakistani side and we retaliating, to Pakistan launching that Operation Burhan or whatever, to our response to it is scuttling it in a manner that they cried uncle. Everything, at every stage, we were in control of the situation. And so, if Pakistan thought that they could, had they thought that they would continue with Operation Bunyan or whatever, our response would have been escalatory in a manner that we would have again controlled the initiative. And so I think at every stage, May 7, 8, 9, 10, so going forward, had Pakistan decided on any other misadventure, we would have continued to control and escalate.
Well, in fact, we have General Pandey who's joining us. He's the former Corps Commander. General Pandey, thank you very much for joining us. And for your benefit, General Pandey, I want to once again play out this interview. We've done this interview with the military advisor to Raksha Mantri, Rajnath Singh, General Khandare, who was also the advisor during Operation Sindoor. And in an interview to us, he has now confirmed that India did not target the nuclear base. It got hit. And the speculation that was always doing the rounds, that whether at all any of the nuclear command center was actually hit or did we come any close, this by far is the clearest answer coming in from the government. And for your benefit, General Pandey, before I take your comment, I want to once again play that interview so that you can hear this out. And I want your first response. As a military man, how do you really look at it? But first, let's listen in once again to what General Khandare had to say.
I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned. In fact, a media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit, and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the
condition.
turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, you know, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
Where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top, no? So I'm not talking about their dialing. They are free to dial anybody in this world.
So we had something more in plan. And
Yeah,
we
so
were going to go
when
ahead.
they reached out to us and they said enough. So we said, okay, if you've learned a lesson, that's all right.
Well, General Pandey, this perhaps is the first big confirmation coming in as far as the nuclear command facility, and now this basically explains why Shehbaz Sharif had called that meeting on 10th of May, and of course thereafter the calls that went to America. So this is the first big confirmation really coming in from a man, from an insider.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
General Pandey, the question that I was asking you, there was a lot of speculation that was doing the rounds with regards to whether at all any of the nuclear command center was actually hit. You have General Khandare, the Raksha Mantri's military advisor, now coming out with a big confirmation saying that we did not target, but it got hit. It can't be clearer than this.
Okay, look, I will just amplify a couple of things before I come to this answer. Is that somewhere we as a nation avoid even selling and talking about our successes. And eventually it starts coming out from the outside world itself that what has happened. If you look at even the surgical strikes and what we did after Balakot, only we talk of symbols or signaling what we do. So even in this case, I will talk of what happened, I think, on 8th and 9th in Pakistan. If you remember, there's a small little news which came about and people missed out that Shehbaz Sharif has asked for the National Command Authority to assemble, essentially, which controls the nuclear assets and its launch and everything. So the second point which I want to articulate before we come to the answer per se is that a country which hits its targets, not today onwards, in the history of engagement with anyone, we hit our targets very carefully, selectively. We are not one of those people who will launch a missile and it may drop in our territory or somewhere else and go missing out on something. Even when we carry out our artillery duels and we hit enemy targets, we ensure it doesn't hit a civilian target which may be right next closed door to it. Unlike other countries, it may be China, it may be Pakistan, and there are so many others, they will fly something into the sky which will fall somewhere in the wrong place, even in their own territory or into a civilian target. So while that smile of the DGMO Air Ops was very clear that we did not hit or aap bataiye and that this thing, he somewhere let it out in a manner that yes, we know we have hit, but we can't talk about it, and oh, by the way, we should not talk about it. Let it come out on its own. So what followed through? While we may have hit by default or deliberately is matter of moot question, but I definitely feel that our Air Force, our military establishment is very, very careful in selecting targets, and it does what it wants, right? It doesn't happen by itself. One is they hit this location, which is supposed to be the storage facility. All right. And that, of course, pushed the Pakistanis to go running to somebody who was possibly made in charge or who knew the issues. And there is a lot of speculation about it, that these are assets kept by some other country in that location. It was supposed to be looked after them. They were supposed to be securing it. There were assets guarding it. And once you hit the storage facility, the possibility of using that system to be fired has got consequences. So one set, that means a weapon set, is off availability to Pakistan forever, for some time to come, till the time they actually come out and find out what has actually been lost and how much damage is it. Is it worth taking a risk to actually use that weapon system on one side? The second, what has happened is that the system which requires to fly it, launch it, that means the systems which were available at Sargodha and Nur Ali Khan were also targeted very, very carefully and calibrated. So both the launch mechanism is now gone missing. There's a whole brouhaha which has been taking place in the last about 24 hours, when the Ukrainians have launched and they are saying that about 35 to 37% of strategic assets which carry the nuclear assets for Russia have been hit. It is a huge hit. You imagine what we have achieved in Sargodha and Uralkhan. So the consequences is that they have actually gone running to Uncle Sam to be intermediary, or it may also have happened that Uncle Sam may have got slightly worried and they may have intervened as well, because they cannot come out and say what is actually happening and what is being tied up. I'm sure you're well aware that even in Nur Ali Khan Air Base, the Air Force personnel of Pak Air Force are not allowed to move around freely because there are some areas which are under direct control of the Americans. So while we may not have been aware of it, but yet these targetings have got a major implication, and compliments to the people who have been involved, who have achieved and hit those areas. The de-escalation which was required, because frankly, our country is not interested into these silly games which are being played by greater nations and these proxy nations or these greater nations. It is focused on its, I talked about on a channel on Viksit Bharat of 2047. These are aberrations, these are size shows which happen, and therefore de-escalation was important. It has consequently resulted into a de-escalation, and they came running and spoke for wanting to de-escalate. I think it's a good thing which has happened.
General Pandey,
I will not like to believe, as a military professional who has served in this country, in this army and in this armed forces, that we do anything without thought.
Can I just then perhaps interpret this by saying, because this comes from one of the most strategic minds of our country, a man who was the former Deputy National Security Advisor, and the fact that he's been with the Ministry of Defence for a very long time. When he says that we have not targeted and it has got hit, couldn't this be seen as perhaps the biggest turning point? Because this is the question I asked him. And he said possibly yes, that was the turning point, and we would not have stopped on 10th of May had Pakistan not come begging to us saying that stop it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that is as clear as day. Like every time people say that the Americans came out and they offered trade and everything, and therefore we have, this gentleman is going around talking everybody there to everyone that they were the ones. He's trying to take success of nothing. India on every cycle of 24 hours came out and made a very distinguished and clear statement that we wanted to target the terrorist camp who were behind this tragedy, dastardly act which happened in Pahalgam. We have done as much. Don't come in between the terrorists and us, right? You are a military force, remain as a military force. But then Pakistani wanted to be a proxy of the terrorist and also of the deep state and the Chinese, So they wanted to showcase that we are going to hit because we have hit our terrorist. And they came out on the second day, they tried to do something silly. Again, by the way, our response on 7th night was still restrained when they carried out some activity. It is only on 9th, 8th and 9th night that we actually went gunning for them and told them, okay, if you're not going to behave yourself, we will go a multiple level up. Right. And therefore, the strike which has happened has been surely a turning point. You look at the shiver of the voice of Khwaza, the defense minister, you look at the shaking of Shahbaz Sharif. Right now, they are strutting around differently. But you need to go back and read the body language of these people just on the night of 9th and in the morning of 10th. They are very clear signals that they were badly shaken up after this strike which took place on the 10th. Right. And if they had not stopped, something much more sinister would have happened to ensure that they would have had trouble in the backyard. They were incapable of flying, by the way. 11 airfields, all gone. Their air defense systems were all finished. They were incapable of carrying out any strikes. They tried try on Delhi, nothing happened. Their hands were tied like anything, right? All the Chinese system which they had got, failed like the Chinese equipment and the ideology which they carry, right? So I surely think that is a great turning point, and that one couple of levels up which we went has de-escalated the situation.
General Pandey, I'm told that General Bakshi is also joining us. General Bakshi, we've had the military advisor to Raksha Mantri during Operation Sindoor for the first time now confirming that what really happened on 10th of May. Did we actually hit the nuclear command center? The man has now made it clearer than ever before. This is the biggest ever confirmation coming in. He says we did not target, but it got hit. That's the clearest confirmation that we have. And General Bakshi, for the benefit of all our viewers who are tuning in right now, and even for you, General Bakshi, I'm just going to play that interview once again for you, and then I'm going to take your first comment, because this, General Khandare says, was the turning point. I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned?
Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hill houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. Okay. And we've not hit Kirana Hills, whatever is there. Okay. I did not brief in my briefing yesterday. Thank you.
In fact, a media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit, and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the
condition.
turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, you know, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
Where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So, if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top, no? So I'm not talking about their dialing. They are free to dial anybody in this world.
So we had something more in plan. And
Yeah,
we
so
were going to go
when
ahead.
they reached out to us and they said enough. So we said, okay, if you've learned a lesson, that's all right.
General Bakshi, no more speculation. This is the top military advisor now confirming to Republic TV that we did hit the nuclear command center. What do you make of it, General Bakshi?
Look, it has been out in the open source analysis, OSINT media, that we have hit 3 nuclear targets in Pakistan. One is the Kirana Hills near Sargodha. The second is the Chagai Hills nuclear weapon storage site near, Jacobabad Air Base, where the F-16, that is the headquarters of the X-16s, which were, modified for glide toss bombing, delivery of nuclear weapons. The Kirana Hills facility was to service the missile, was to provide warheads to mate on the nuclear-tipped missiles that they were planning to fire towards us. And the third facility, which has now been confirmed by General Bhandare, is the Strategic Plans Division Nuclear Command Post, in the Noor Khan Air Base. The Strategic Command Post, which deals with your National Command Authority, sits there and decides on nuclear weapon usage. All 3 facilities, it seems from OSINT sources and from oblique references by the official media, have been confirmed. I would like to state at this stage very unequivocally that we have had a clear-cut victory in this 96 hours war, as clearly established by international experts like Tom Cooper, like Ladwig of the Royal United Services Institution, like John Sinclair, of the the West Point, who is the professor of urban warfare at West Point. I mean, all these three military experts and many others have clearly confirmed that India had the decisive edge out. Whatever targets, whatever aims it wanted to achieve, political aims, in terms of hitting the 9 terror headquarters and infrastructure sites in Pakistan, 5 in POK, 4 in the heartland of Punjab, to include Bawalpur, Muridke, Sialkot, where we had respectively the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen. Also Muzaffarabad, they've been blasted to smithereens. You can see the rubble of those grand palatial buildings made as universities of terror. So that was our political aim that has been achieved. That was revenge for Pahalgam. The next day, Pakistan escalated, went up one more notch up the escalation ladder. The first escalation ladder it had climbed was in Pahalgam with the mass casualty strike, communal strike. The next one was that it decided to hit our air bases and military targets. 15 military targets it tried to hit on the night of 8th, 9th, right? It fired about 400 drones. It launched about 400 Turkish and Chinese drones, mostly Turkish drones at these sites, over 90% of which were shot down and they hardly did any damage. This was largely a probing attack. The next day they came back with a couple of hundred drones, and this time they also added tactical ballistic missiles and, also the conventional, cruise missiles, right? Cruise missile strikes from the beyond visual range capacity. Once again, they tried to hit our air bases. Not one. Our air defense, integrated air defense, comprising of the layers of S-400, the Barak 8, medium-range SAMs, long-range, medium-range SAMs, and then our Akashes, then the Spiders, and finally our V-Shorats and the close-in defenses, legacy defenses, upgraded, modified to include our L-70, our Zu-23 and our Shilkas. They proved to be a formidable iron dome. Again, not one single tactical ballistic missile got through. Not
General
one
Bakshi, that's another significant point that General Khandare also makes in the interview, where he says that the nuclear bluff was called out. But another important point, General Bakshi, I want to share with you, where General Khandare says that we were not going to stop on the 10th of May. The plan was very clear. India would have continued perhaps some other targets, but he has now confirmed that India had no plans of stopping it on the 10th of May had it not been for the Pakistanis begging us and in fact taking the option of retreat. It is an option that was given by India to the Pakistanis. So it has nothing to do with the United States of America. General Khandare makes it very clear that India would have continued on 10th of May. And this would have continued had it not been for the Pakistanis taking the option that we had given them.
Look, we provided off-ramps to Pakistan even after we hit the terror camps, right? On the first day itself, we had provided an off-ramp. Our DGMO had rung up their DGMO, who did not take that damn call, but it was clearly conveyed to him that we have hit your terror bases and we are prepared to call it off, provided you behave. Pakistan decided to escalate. And then we hit it really hard. Look, if out of 12 air bases, 11 of your air bases get hit, what does that show about your air defense capabilities of Pakistan? They were obliterated, 4 of their radars. In fact, the news is 7 radars have been destroyed and huge gaps opened in their air defense network, which we exploited to attack. Out of 12, 11 of their airfields, starting from Skardu, going down to Karachi. What does that say about the comprehensive nature of our victory, of our air superiority we had gained? When he tried to hit our air bases, our military targets, he tried to hit Delhi. And that particular, tactical ballistic missile, Shaheen-1, was shot down over Sirsa by our S-400s. The Fateh-2 was also shot down, which was aimed at the Golden Temple. All of these were brought down. 100% of the tactical ballistic missiles, 98% of the cruise missiles, and also almost 90% of the all over from J&K to Bhuj, agricultural fields and the desert sands of Rajasthan and in Gujarat. We have comprehensively given them a beating. But the problem is, we have lost the war of the narratives, at least in the first 5 days. We let that narrative, be hijacked by Pakistan, by our silly silence. I couldn't make out the basis of that silence, or our briefings by civilians on military operations. I thought that was violative of the Union War Book, which lays down which ministry deals with what. In wartime, in my time in the MO Directorate, reps from the MO, Air Ops, Naval Ops used to brief every single day of the Kargil War. So we had these SOPs in place. I see no reason why they were violated, why emphasis was put more on political signaling or putting lady officers out there. I mean, it's very nice we put them out there, but then we should have put the professionals who were doing the planning and execution, which is what Pakistan did. And it carried more credibility. So the fact is, we have to get our Information Warfare Act together. The good thing is that the truth is coming out by slow degrees. Every day, in every way, more and more and more of the truth is being revealed. Pakistan has been clobbered and clobbered hard. It has been clobbered in a way that it cannot deny, however hard it tries.
Well, in fact,
because
General
Bahawalpur
Bakshi
is in the middle of the city. Lahore, Muridke is in the middle of the city.
Well, General Bakshi, they've gone a step ahead. They've gone a step ahead. Today they have released a dossier saying that we've got hit at a number of places. In fact, I'm just going to put out that entire graphic that we have just made for our viewers, because in a dossier that they have made, they have also admitted that Peshawar was hit. They've also admitted that Jang was hit. These are some of the places that are right deep inside, east of Indus, that have all been hit here. General Bakshi, we have put out the revelation that has been made by the Pakistanis themselves. Pakistanis have admitted today that it is not limited to 8 or 9 targets. It has gone way beyond that. And that, remember, as India has been pointing out, that this is a calibrated response to the dastardly attack that they carried out, and the fact that they were still targeting several of the civilian areas, and that is the reason why they say it's a measured response coming in. I'm just going to once again play that interview that we've had with the military advisor to Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, General Khandare, who spoke to us.
I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned?
Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hill houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. Okay. And we've not hit Kirana Hills, whatever is there. Okay. I did not brief in my briefing yesterday. Thank you.
In fact, a media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit, and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top, no? So I'm not talking about their dialing. They are free to dial anybody in this world.
So we had something more in plan. And
yeah,
we
so
were going to go
when
ahead.
they reached out to us and they said enough. So we said, okay, if you've learned a lesson, that's all right.
QSMTHE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling, in order to build their own systems, etc. But they used the money to build Tarbela and the other dam, which is Mangala Dam, which is on.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते
Sir, fans है शोर तो करेंगे ही ना?
नए वाले नहीं करते and they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
5 साल नैनी सेंटर में तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा, फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ गए। आप कहा बैठे पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया, सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया 21 साल।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी, कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल नैनी सेंटर में तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा, फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, के पेट छोड़ गए। फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 103 साल।
हाँ साहब।
क्या हुआ था? कौन सा घटनाक्रम, किससे झगड़ा हो गया था जब आपको गिरफ्तारी?
साहब हमरे यह रहा है, हमारे चाची को मारे रहे, चंदा, प्रभु, नुखई, ये चारों मारे रहे हैं चाची के, देशराज की महतारी के। तो फिर कलेसर
Welcome back. Now, the Kheer Bhavani Mela, an annual religious festival of the Kashmiri Pandit community, has started today. It, in fact, is being held at the Kheer Bhavani temple in the village in Gandarbal. The temple is dedicated to goddess, in fact, a reincarnation of the goddess Durga, and is being revered by the Kashmiri Hindus as one of the holiest sites in this region. Here's a ground report from Jammu and Kashmir.
Kashmiri Pandits have gathered here at Mata Kheer Bhavani temple at Tulmula on Jyesht Ashtami. This is one of the religious festivals which is celebrated in 5 temples in the Kashmir Valley, from Gandarbal to Anantnag to Kupwara to Kulgam. One can see this is the temple of Mata Kheer Bhavani, and which is one of the reverted shrines. Though the footfall of the number of Kashmiri Pandits is a bit lesser compared to the previous years, but you see the puja, the festival look here at and they are offering milk, the flowers, and they are also doing the puja. The religious rites are being performed by the Kashmiri Pandits. Meanwhile, in this festival, apart from the Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri Muslims do participate. That shows the sign of brotherhood, communal harmony, and also this tells you about Kashmiriyat, when Hindus and Muslims come together to celebrate these kind of festivals. We've been seeing the tight security arrangements, the multi-layer security arrangements being done by the Jammu and Kashmir police. In fact, the drone surveillances or the identity checks and the other movable and immovable infrastructure has been put in place to provide a sense of security to those who are coming to this place on this very reverted occasion. As far as the MHA's report of 2020 is concerned, it has mentioned them some 64,951 Kashmiri Pandits displayed and have been living in the different parts of the world. But on this occasion, we see that these Kashmiri Pandits, they come from different parts of the country, and those who are still settled here, they come here to offer, to do the rituals.
Now shifting our focus, a very concerning story is coming from Noida in Uttar Pradesh. A speeding Thar hit a youth, leaving him injured in Noida Sector 53. This is a breaking news that we are getting for you. The victim fell into the nearby drain. This incident followed an earlier scuffle, after which the accused tried to run him over with his car. A video of the scuffle has now been accessed by Republic TV. Police has taken cognizance of the viral video. A case has been registered in connection with this incident. A team has been formed to arrest this accused in the case. In fact, we are getting a reaction from the victim after the aftermath. Take a look.
डंडों से, चाकू से और ब्लेड से और ईंटों से इन्होंने हम पे वार किया। जिनके टूर एंड ट्रेवल से काम चल रहे हैं, इनके 2 नंबर के काम चल रहे हैं, अपने आपको माफिया बताते हैं, नोएडा का बदमाश बनते हैं। इन्होंने हम पे बहुत सख्त और घायल वार किया है, जिससे मैं मूर्छित हो गया। मेरे सर में और मेरी लोअर बैक में बहुत ज्यादा चोटें आई हैं, उसका इलाज चल रहा है। मुकदमा दर्ज करवा दिया, कुछ कार्रवाई कुछ ढंग से कुछ कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही है। इतना छोटी छोटी 2 धार लगा के मेरी इतनी चोट है, मेरे सर सब फटे पड़े हैं, मेरी इतनी चोट, गंभीर चोटें हैं, कोई सख्त कार्रवाई नहीं हुई, कुछ कार्रवाई हुई नहीं।
Let me go across to my colleague Akhil, who joins us live on the broadcast, and he's been tracking this story. Akhil, tell us what led to this road rage and then a scuffle between these 2 people.
Well, initially, if you see, a scuffle broke out prior to this very incident when a social media post was done by what was basically posted by one camp, because there are 2 camps and one camp has basically resisted it and requested the second camp not to post it about it. And after that, the second camp did not listen and an altercation broke out. And after that, they met at a point in Sector 53 roundabout. And what has happened after that, we have seen in that entire visual, where a scuffle broke out, and after a scuffle broke out, the second group, two brothers basically tried to rush away from the various spot, and then a mass of people, approximately 8 to 10 people, ran towards that side, and after that they fled from the various spot, in which what we have seen in the CCTV footage that we have got, that a car, an SUV car, is coming from the left side, and it basically struck the person who was just walking on that pavement. And if you see in this video, it's very clear that the person fell into the drain nearby, and after that what we have seen, that he was taken to a nearby hospital in sector 39, and the entire incident which took place over there at the sector 53 roundabout comes under the Noida sector 24 police station jurisdiction. So a police complaint had already been registered by the Noida police. While commenting on this issue, additional DCP Sumit Kumar Shukla has said that the main accused is still at large, and they have formed a team in connection with the case to nab the main accused. Keep watching Republic TV. We'll be right back after a short commercial break.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुलें तो जी ललचाए, और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबां में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबां कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबां कैसी?
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling, in order to build their own systems, etc. But they used the money to build Tarbela and the other dam, which is Mangala Dam, which is on the Indus, and the other one is on the Jhelum. Now, so they've not been honest right from the beginning. And whenever we wanted to do something as far as the Indus River is concerned, they would always say that, look, this treaty has survived so many conflicts between India and Pakistan, nothing is going to happen. However, they did not know that this time they were dealing with a person called Narendra Bhai Damodar Das Modi, and we'd had enough, especially after the Pahalgam attack, that the feeling was that, oh, India will make some noise, India will lodge one protest here, there, everywhere, go to the United Nations.
I don't just report from courtrooms on verdicts, I decode them. From breaking news to complex legal verdicts, every word is backed by law. At the Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how to report on legal issues with accuracy and speed. The RSJ Diploma, starting on the 30th of June. Apply now.
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्ट्रा तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना?
ये मिला।
हाँ? हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप
5 साल नहीं सेंटर में तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा, फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है कि फिर छोड़ गए। अब कहा बैठे अब पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया। सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया, आज 21 है।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल नैनी सेंटर में है, तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा। फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ गए। फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 103 साल।
हाँ साहब।
क्या हुआ था? कौन सा घटनाक्रम, किससे झगड़ा हो गया था जब आपको गिरफ्तारी?
साहब हमरे यह रहा है, हमारे चाची को मारे रहे, चंदा, प्रभु, नोखई, ये 4 मारे रहे हैं चाची के। देश राज्य महता
Hello and welcome to watching Republic TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria. Despite being pulled up by the High Court in Karnataka, Kamal Hassan has refused to apologize for his remarks and instead he has said that he will not release his movie in Karnataka. We'll get you more on that, but first as always, the headlines.
At the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target, it got hit. And it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there.
It is the biggest confirmation on Republic TV. Military advisor to Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor has confirmed to us Pakistan's nuclear command centre was hit.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
We have the confirmation that Pakistan's nuclear facility getting hit was the biggest turning point. Fear gripped Pakistan. Pakistan has admitted to large-scale damage. Internal dossier reveals more targets hit by India than revealed.
Actually, you know, in 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And similar kind of venom was fueled by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speech just 2 days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam.
CDS Anil Chauhan, while speaking on Operation Sindoor, has hit out at Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, stating that venom was spewed by Munir against India just 2 days ahead of the Pahalgam attack. Karnataka High Court wraps Kamal Hassan asking why no apology, says public figure cannot hurt public sentiments. Meanwhile, Hassan Thug Life will not be released in Karnataka. Why no truce with Maoists is what the Telangana Congress chief has asked, that if there can be truce with Pakistan, that not with Maoists. Well, the first story that we're tracking for you this evening comes from Telangana. Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee Chief Mahesh Kumar Gaur has questioned central government's stance on Maoism, saying that if truce can happen with Pakistan, then why can it not happen with Maoists in India? He even accused the union government of using anti-Maoist operations as a mean to displace tribal population. And not just that, in fact, he even criticized the Modi government for not accepting the offer of talks made by Maoists. Listen into what he said.
కటగుట్ట ప్రాంతంలో దాదాపు 10,000 మంది పోలీస్ ఫోర్సెస్ ఆ ప్రాంతాన్ని చుట్టుముట్టినప్పుడు ఆలస్యమైన మేము చర్చలకు సిద్ధంగా ఉన్నాం, మేము ఆయుధాలను వదులుతాం, చర్చలకు ఆహ్వానించని అడిగినప్పుడు ఏ కనికరమున్న ప్రధానమంత్రి అయినా చర్చలకు ఆహ్వానించి ఉండాల్సింది, కానీ అది చేయలేదు. మన పౌరులైనటువంటి విభిన్న అభిప్రాయాలు కలిగిన మన పౌరుల్ని చర్చలకు ఆహ్వానించలేదు. కానీ ట్రంప్ మొట్టికాయ వేస్తే తీవ్రవాదులతో ఉగ్రవాదులతో చర్చలకు సిద్ధమైనటువంటి ప్రభుత్వం మనది. మిత్రులారా,
Meanwhile, Republic TV also confronted Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee Chief Mahesh Kumar Gaur. Listen in to what he said. Well, so this massive, in fact, controversy has been stoked by this Congress chief in Telangana. He has, in fact, said that if a truce can happen with Pakistan, then why not with the Naxals? And Republic TV confronted Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee Chief Mahesh Kumar Gaur. We tried to ask him as to why he made a comparison between the truce with Pakistan, the ceasefire, and then the talks with Naxals.
कगार इशू में हम पहले से साफ करते आए कि कांग्रेस की जो लाइन है वो लाइन अहिंसा है. हिंसा किसी की तरह का हिंसा हो, चाहे वो नक्सल्स की तरफ से हो या सरकार की तरफ से हो, हिंसा नहीं चाहते हैं, हम अहिंसा चाहते हैं. कगार के इशू में जो फोर्सेस नक्सल्स को सराउंड करे, हमको ये बताया गया है कि 3 बार वहाँ से मैसेज भेजे कि हम आर्म्स छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, सरकार से पीस टॉक्स के लिए तैयार है. देखो, आदमी जीने का फंडामेंटल राइट है. एज पर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एवरी मैन हैज़ ए राइट टू लिव, नो वन कैन कर्ब द राइट ऑफ लिविंग. कगार के इशू में पीस टॉक्स नहीं करते हुए सरकार के फोर्सेस हमला करे, और हमारा डर यही था कि वहाँ बहुत सारे सिविलियंस थे. नक्सल्स के अलावा वो एरिया में बहुत सारे सिविलियंस थे, हज़ारों के सिविलियंस थे, उनका भी रक्तपात होता बोल के हमने पीस टॉक्स के लिए मांग की. आज भी हम पीस टॉक्स के लिए मांग कर रहे हैं. और अब
आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है उसको आप कंटिन्यू करते हैं. आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है उसको
अभी भी हम मांग कर रहे हैं कि पीस टॉक्स होनी चाहिए. जब पाकिस्तानी तो विदेश है, उनसे हम सीज फायर करें. जब अपने देशियाँ हैं, नक्सल्स तो अपने देशियाँ हैं, लेकिन उनकी विचारधारा अलग है, हम उसकी विचारधारा को हम नहीं अपना रहे. लेकिन पीस टॉक्स के लिए जब कोई संस्था आगे आती है तो सरकार को क्या दिक्कत है पीस टॉक्स करने के लिए.
पाकिस्तानी आतंकवादी हो या नक्सली हो, कांग्रेस पार्टी हमेशा वोट बैंक नीति को राष्ट्र सुरक्षा नीति के ऊपर रखती है, परिवार और दल हित को देश हित के ऊपर रखती है, वोट हित देखती है. देखे ना, पहलगाम में पाकिस्तानी आतंकवादियों को क्लीन चिट इनके नेताओं ने दिया. याद होगा विजय वड़त्तीवार थे मैया जी. अब तेलंगाना कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष कहते हैं कि नक्सलियों के साथ सीज फायर हो जाना चाहिए. वैसे तो सीज फायर पाकिस्तान के विषय में करते रहते हैं. सीज फायर कौन चाहता है ये देख लीजिए. आज जब नक्सलिज्म पर एक करारा प्रहार हुआ है और 125 डिस्ट्रिक्ट से गिरकर 85% नक्सलिज्म भारत में कम हुआ है, मात्र कुछ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में बाकी है और वो भी 2026 आते आते समाप्त हो जाएगा. बसवराजू जैसे बड़े नक्सली कमांडर मारे गए हैं, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी नक्सलियों के लिए अब आंसू बहा रही है.
Now shifting our focus to Punjab, a youth there was arrested for desecrating a Gurbani Gutka Sahib, that is the holy book at Guru Ramdas Sarai near the Langar Hall of Harminder Sahib in Amritsar. Now this incident occurred when the individual tore pages from the holy book and discarded them. Sikh devotees apprehended him on the spot and he was subsequently handed over to the police. Now the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee has condemned the act, emphasizing the need for a stringent action against such acts. This person has now been arrested. Let me go across to my colleague Lalit, who joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Lalit, what we are learning is that this act was committed by this man who has now been arrested. Take us through the entire act, and when did it happen and what sort of action will be taken against him?
This whole incident of sacrilege took place yesterday in the Golden Temple premises at around 10 p.m. When a person named Gurpreet discredited the holy Gutka Sahib, which is known for the collection of prayers of the Sukhmani Sahib. So the holy pages of that Gutka Sahib were torn, and after that the devotees present there just apprehended him, and after that thrashed him. He was being taken by the SGPC, the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, and he was interrogated for nearly 1.5 hours, and after that he was handed over to the police, where police have arrested him. But to make you recall, the parents of Gurpreet Singh have said that his mental condition is not well, and from year 2014 onwards he was having the medicines of the depression and other things. But if you talk about the SGPC and the devotees, very clearly they have said that it's a sacrilege attempt, and they will not accept this against the gurus, and especially against the holy book, which is the collection of prayers from the Sukhmani Sahib Gurbani. So they need stringent action should be taken against the youth Gurpreet Singh. If we talk about this particular incident, this has taken place near the Guru Arjan Dev Nivas, and the Gutka Sahib was being taken from Gurdwara Shahid Ganj, which is there in the vicinity of the Golden Temple premises only. Right now, the person, 32-year-old youth, Gurpreet Singh, has been arrested, and a case has been registered against him. Apart from that, if you talk about, the SGPC members have said that a stringent action should be taken against those persons who always try to attempt to do this type of things, so that no one in the future does this type of sacrilege attempt. Back to the studio.
Absolutely, really shameful act done by this person. As far as the Gurdwara there is concerned, he has now been taken into custody. Thank you, Lalit, for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now, moving on to Bihar, the rape and murder of a minor girl in Bihar's Muzaffarpur has sparked outrage across the country, with the National Commission of Women taking cognizance of this. The girl, who was allegedly raped in her village last week, succumbed to her injuries at a state-run hospital. Republic has been the only channel to question the government over this matter, and the only channel who has exclusively spoken to RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav on this matter. Listen to him.
आप आए हैं यहाँ खटिया काम जो टूट जाए खटिया क्या पाया आपने?
देखिए, आप स्थिति देख सकते हैं। झोपड़ी में हम लोग हैं, बेहद गरीब परिवार है, दलित परिवार है, मजदूरी करके जो है कमाते खाते हैं। लड़की की माता जी हैं जो कि विधवा है, और विधवा है लड़की की जो माता जी जो है वो विधवा है, और उनके बड़े पापा और छोटे पापा यहाँ है, बड़ी माँ है, और जिस बच्ची की हत्या हुई है उसके 2 भाई भी हैं। लोगों का साफ कहना है कि बड़ी इसी आंगन में खेला करती थी वो लड़की, मासूम 10-11 साल की बच्ची थी, जिसका बलात्कार करके गला काट करके मार दिया गया। मतलब बिहार में सबसे ज़्यादा बच्चों पर अगर कोई शोषण हो रहा है तो बिहार में हो रहा है। दलितों पे अपराध अगर सबसे ज़्यादा हो रहा है तो बिहार में हो रहा है। ये वही ज़िला है, आपको भी पता होगा, जहां बालिका गृह जैसे कांड हुए, यानी दरिंदे अभी भी जिंदा है। और सरकार जो है पता नहीं कौन सा नशा करके सोई हुई है। मुख्यमंत्री अचेत अवस्था में है। ये डबल इंजन की सरकार कोई सूद लेने वाला बिहार के लोगों को नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री जी आएंगे तो वहाँ लाइन लगा रहेगा, लेकिन गरीब परिवार, पीड़ित परिवार तरसता रहेगा, अपने न्याय के लिए लड़ता रहेगा, लेकिन कोई सुनने नहीं आएगा।
एक और सवाल है
कि PMCH मुजफ्फरपुर तक बच्ची जो थी, अभी इनके बड़े पापा ने हमको वीडियो वगैरह भी दिखाया कि बच्ची कम्युनिकेट कर रही थी, लिख भी रही थी, क्या हुआ है उसके साथ। रेफ़र किया गया PMCH, तो 5-6 घंटे इन लोगों को एडमिशन के लिए जो है जूझना पड़ा है। ऑक्सीजन ख़त्म हो गया था, ऑक्सीजन के लिए इन्होंने इनसे जो है 2500 की मांग की गई। अब आप स्थिति देख सकते हैं कि क्या सिस्टम है। इन लोगों का साफ कहना है कि अगर समय पर एडमिशन हो जाता, इलाज हो जाता, तो बच्ची की जान बचाई जा सकती थी। तो हम लोग तो यही अपील करेंगे, पूरी संवेदना है परिजनों के प्रति। एक तो कुछ दिन पहले ही मंगल पांडे हमको बोल रहे थे, चुनौती दे रहे थे कि आइए डिबेट कीजिए, पहले इस पे तो बात कर रहे हैं, आ करके जवाब देना चाहिए ना। जिस पीड़ित परिवार को आके जवाब देना चाहिए कि क्या किस दौर से ये लोग गुजरे हैं। कम से कम जाने तो कि क्या स्थिति है, तब तो सुधार लाएंगे। कोई सूद लेने नहीं आया तो, और परिवार के लोग सब लोग हैं, हम लोग तो चाहेंगे।
PMCH में क्या कोताही बरती गई, क्या अच्छा, एक और सवाल है तेजस्वी जी कि ये दलित समुदाय से ये परिवार आता है, तेजस्वी जी दलित समुदाय से परिवार आता है और कई दलितों के रहनुमा बनते हैं, चिराग पासवान अभी तक नहीं आए हैं।
अब कौन आए नहीं आए इस पे हमको कोई राजनीति नहीं करनी है। हमारा एक मकसद, एक लड़ाई है कि इस परिवार को जो है न्याय मिलना चाहिए।
किस तरह का न्याय मिलना चाहिए?
कम से कम जो अपराधी हैं, पुलिस जो है, ये ना हो कि बेल लेकर के वापस आ जाए। स्पीडी ट्रायल होना चाहिए, कड़ी से कड़ी सज़ा होनी चाहिए। और ये आर्थिक मदद जो है, या तो परिवार में किसी एक को नौकरी अगर सरकार दे, ये होना चाहिए। कहाँ से अब बेचारी माँ है, विधवा है, कहाँ से और बच्चों को खिला पिला पाएंगी, ये स्थिति देख लीजिए। बाकी हमको लगता है कि आप परिजनों से आप अगर बात कीजिएगा तो
कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर पर आप लगातार सवाल उठा रहे हैं, मुख्यमंत्री के स्टेटस के बारे में भी बोलते हैं, क्या लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सही में चरमरा गया है क्योंकि कंट्रोल नहीं है?
जंगल राज चिल्लाने वाले अंधे हो गए हैं। उनको अपने 20 साल का राज नहीं दिख रहा है कि उनके 20 साल का राज क्या है। ये है असलियत बिहार की स्थिति, ये है स्थिति।
Now shifting our focus, the Bombay Lawyers Association has written a letter to the Chief Justice of India seeking the registration of FIR against Justice Yashwant Verma. General Secretary of that association has emphasized that there are legal provisions which empower the CJI to act against individuals holding prominent positions in the judiciary. He also went on to state that the letter was sent to uphold the public faith in the judicial system. Listen in.
There is any information disclosing the cognizable offence, the Honorable Supreme Court has already ruled that when there is such kind of incident, there has to be an FIR first. That is very basic principle of criminal jurisprudence. In this particular case, when a lot of cash has been found at the residence of Justice Verma's place, till today there is no FIR. And in a case of Venkataswamy, the Honorable Supreme Court has already been ruled that when there is an incident against the judge, the High Court or the Supreme Court judge, there is a procedure laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court, that is the CJI, that is the Chief Justice of India, has to give prior sanction in case of any allegations or any registration of FIR against the sitting judge of High Court or the Supreme Court. So the CJI has to give prior sanction, then only, and then the case proceeds further. So we have written to the CJI to issue a sanction so that criminal prosecution can be initiated against the Justice Verma.
Well, Sikkim evacuation efforts gain momentum. According to CS Rao, the Additional Chief Secretary of Tourism and Civil Aviation Department, a significant progress has been made in evacuating the tourists after heavy rainfall in Sikkim. He also stated that so far 1,670 tourists have been safely evacuated from this area and an additional 30 people were rescued today. He also underscored that the efforts are underway to airlift 130 stranded tourists from Lachen, with operations expected to continue today. NDRF teams have been deployed to North Sikkim now in response to the ongoing disaster in North Sikkim. One V5 helicopter has landed at the Greenfield Airport, deploying teams from the NDRF. The units are equipped with satellite phones and essential emergency equipments. The first sortie of the day, comprising 23 NDRF personnel equipped with essential supplies, has successfully proceeded towards Stratton from the Greenfield Airport. Lok Sabha MP Gaurav Gogoi has assumed the presidency of Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, succeeding Bhupen Kumar Bora. As the party prepares for the assembly polls next year, Gogoi leadership will be very crucial in shaping the strategy and the campaign. The transfer of charge occurred at the Congress headquarters in Guwahati, with Gogoi now at the helm of the state's main opposition. BJP leader Dilip Ghosh has criticized Digvijay Singh's reported statement on Operation Sindoor, questioning the Congress party's stance on terrorism. Ghosh has pointed out that during the terms of former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, Pakistan's attack and shelling did not evoke a very strong response from the Congress government then. PMC has cancelled a tender worth crores for robotic rescue machines from a Turkish company. The machines were intended to be installed at 6 Chowpatty beaches in Mumbai to aid lifeguards. The decision comes in response to Turkey's stance on supporting Pakistan following the Pahalgam terror attack. Now, the northeastern states bear the brunt of rain fury there. Now, the NDRF forces have been deployed, helicopters have been deployed to North Sikkim for relief and rescue operations. Here is a quick report.
The northeastern states bear the brunt of heavy rains, followed by flash floods and landslides. In the latest, the NDRF has deployed helicopters to North Sikkim for relief operations. One V5 helicopter has landed at the Pakyong Greenfield Airport, deploying teams from the NDRF. The NDRF units are equipped with the satellite phones and essential emergency equipment. The first sortie of the day, comprising 23 NDRF personnel equipped with essential supplies, successfully proceeded towards Stratton from Pakyong Greenfield Airport. The deployed NDRF teams will aid in evacuation, rescue and establishment of the temporary communication lines to assist the affected residents. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi also dialed Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and Manipur Governor Ajay Kumar Bhalla, and assured them all possible support from the centre.
Ram Mandir in Ayodhya is all decked up for the second Pran Pratishtha ceremony, and this time for the Ram Darbar. The city of Ayodhya has been beautifully decorated for the 3-day-long consecration ceremony set to begin today. Here's more.
The temple town of Ayodhya is once again reverberating with the chants of devotion as it prepares for Pran Pratishtha 2.0. 3-day-long ceremony starts today and conclude on June 5.
अयोध्या राम मंदिर में राम दरबार की स्थापना के पहले राम मंदिर को स्वर्ण जड़ित किया गया है। जरा तस्वीरें मैं आपको दिखा देती हूँ कि जो शिखर है उसे किस तरीके से आभा मंडित किया गया है, और इसकी वजह है यहाँ पर चढ़ाई गई गुंबद पर सोने की पानी की परत। ये पूरा कार्य सोमवार को ही किया गया था, विशेषज्ञों की देखरेख में किया गया है। 10 शिखर हैं, गुंबद हैं, जिस पर ये कार्य किया गया है सोने के पानी को चढ़ाने का। और 14 अप्रैल 2025 की अगर मैं बात करूँ तो श्री राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर की तरफ से बताया भी गया था कि कि गर्भगृह के मुख्य शिखर पर कलश की स्थापना की जाएगी और वो स्थापना हो चुकी है। सोने की परत चढ़ाने की जो प्रक्रिया है वो पूरी हो गई है। अब 3 जून से 5 जून तक प्राण प्रतिष्ठा समारोह का कार्यक्रम भी चल रहा है। इस बीच में आपको वो मंदिर का तस्वीर भी दिखा देती हूँ जिस मंदिर में जो स्थापना है राम दरबार की वो होने वाली है। देखिए यहाँ से अगर आप देखेंगे तो पहला नहीं, प्रथम तल जो है वो उसके पीछे वाला यानी दूसरा तल है, जहाँ पर कुछ लोग भी आपको नजर आ जाएंगे और वहां पर अभी भी कार्य किया जा रहा है क्योंकि 5 तारीख को यहाँ पर राम दरबार की स्थापना होनी है। उसके पहले एक जो पूरा कार्यक्रम है, भव्य कार्यक्रम है, वो किया गया है। आप मंदिर की सजावट देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से उसे सजाया गया है और ये शिखर जो है, स्वर्ण जड़ित जो शिखर है, वो शुरुआत के 4 मंदिर और उसके साथ साथ बगल के 2 मंदिर और इसी तरीके से दोनों तरफ के 2 और मंदिर यानी लगभग 12 मंदिर हैं जिन पर ये शिखर चढ़ाया गया है। पानी सोने की पानी की परत चढ़ाई गई है ताकि जब आप अयोध्या में आए तो अयोध्या में दूर से ही आपको श्री राम का वो मंदिर नजर आ जाए जिसके पावन दर्शन के लिए लोग दूर दूर से दौड़े हुए चले आते हैं।
Following this historic consecration of Ramlala on January 22, 2024, the temple is now readying for a second round of consecration rituals, which will mark the installation of Lord Ram in his majestic form on the temple's first floor.
We're taking a very short break. After that, we'll tell you it is the biggest confirmation on Republic TV. Military advisor to Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor has confirmed that Pakistan's nuclear command center was hit. We'll also tell you about this confirmation that Pakistan's nuclear facility getting hit was the biggest turning point. Fear gripped Pakistan. We'll tell you about these 2 stories right after this very short break. Stay with us.
MDH की देगी मिर्च, देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का। MDH की देगी मिर्च। विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling, in order to
what it takes to report from the front lines. Accuracy, urgency, courage and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not a theory, it's a live learning inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, RSJ is where you begin. Courses begin from June 30th. Apply now.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते
सर फैंस हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना?
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me आए तो और
Cricket fans.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
5 साल 19 सेंटर में रही तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा, फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ रहे हैं। अब कहा है बैठे अब पहले हुए कमाई ले कुछ खाए का, आपको कमाई लायक नहीं है, बहुत गुजार दिया, सब प्रतिनिधि खत्म हो गया। 21 साल।
अब बिल्कुल मैं सबसे पहले तस्वीरें आपको लखन की ही दिखाता हूँ। लखन बैठे हुए हैं, ये घर के ठीक बाहर खटिया पे बैठे हुए हैं और जो कुछ इनके ऊपर गुजरा है, जो कुछ घटनाक्रम इनके संग घटा है, पढ़कर मालूम चलता है कि व्यवस्था जब फेल होती है तो व्यक्ति किस तरीके से हताश हो जाता है। लखन जी, कितने साल रहे जेल में?
साहब 5 साल 19 सेंटर में रही तो फिर जीवन कारा होगा, फिर हमें हाई कोर्ट बेल की है, फिर छोड़ रहे हैं, फिर लड़ते रहे साहब।
उम्र कितनी हो गई?
उम्र साहब 3 साल।
हाँ, 103 साल।
हाँ साहब।
क्या हुआ था? कौन सा घटनाक्रम, किससे झगड़ा हो गया था जब आपको गिरफ्तारी?
साहब हमरे यह रहा है, हमारे चाची को मारे रहे, चंदा, प्रभु, नुखई, ये चारों मारे रहे हैं चाची के, देसराज की महतारी के। तो फिर कलेसर देसराज मलेसर का लू, तो फिर अपन नहीं किए, अपन नहीं किए आए, फिर अपन जो है अपन झगड़ा मचा दिए।
जेल में कुल कितना साल काट दिए जीवन का? कितना, कौन उम्र में जेल गए थे?
अरे साहब बहुत।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hi there, welcome to Tuesday 5 p.m. live and breaking. A big reveal by the man who was in the thick of action, the military advisor to Raksha Mantri at that time when Operation Sindoor was panning out, and the mystery behind why Pakistan cried uncle is out in this Republic exclusive. Join me, headlines first.
At the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target, it got hit and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there.
It's the biggest confirmation on Republic military advisor to Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor confirms Pakistan's nuclear command center was hit.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit, how quickly did you hit them, how hard you hit them.
Pakistan admits large-scale damage. Internal dossier reveals more targets hit by India than revealed earlier. CDS Anil Chauhan, while speaking on Operation Sindoor, hit out at Pak Army Chief Wasim Munir, saying that he spewed venom and against India just 2 days ahead of Pahalgam attack.
Officially, the 1965 Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And similar kind of venom was spewed by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just 2 days, weeks before what happened in Pahalgam.
Karnataka High Court says raps Kamal Hassan, asks why no apology, says public figure can't hurt public sentiments. Meanwhile, Hassan's thug life will not release in Karnataka. And Telangana Congress chief sympathizes with Maoists, questions why no talks with them. All right, we are beginning with the breaking news coming in. The National Commission for the Scheduled Castes has issued a formal notice to the Telangana government seeking an action taken report over remarks made by senior IAS officer Alagu Varshini. The commission has taken suo motu cognizance of Varshini's comments, which allegedly stated that Dalit students are made to clean toilets in scheduled caste Gurukula schools. The IAS officer has spoken exclusively to Republic TV now and has said that her voice was modulated. Let's listen in to what she had to say.
Unfortunately, the video or the audio clip which was circulated was a very well edited and crafted and voice modulated version of a 2.5 hour discussion, which is an internal discussion we have with the principal. So to make my principals understand the difference between the livelihood and the needs of the children, yes, I did use those terms, but this is absolutely not with an intention, in harming a society, and I have not mentioned any words like that. And
so you are saying that your audio clip which is being circulated is edited?
Grafted, edited version, and also it has versions which have been spoken over 2 or 3 different meetings that we took place, which has taken place in Zoom.
But why is that the toilet cleaning has to be done by the students? Because there are allegations, there are talks that the residential society doesn't have sanitation staff also to do such works, and that is why the students are being made to do this.
That is totally a false allegation. In fact, none of the sanitation staff were removed. And also from the
staff, you have complete staff?
Sufficient staff. And let me put it in note to you, all the Navodaya schools in its curriculum have the same practice of Shramdan 1 hour per week. It is the same system that we are adopting. Why not adopt a good system from any established organization which has been there for years and practiced successfully? So from this year onwards, we have also included in our curriculum that 1 hour of Shramdan, which includes in 1 week they will be doing ground cleaning, in 1 week they will be doing residential block cleaning, which also includes the bath and toilet area cleaning. But the clip is very well modulated and it is repeatedly being used as an accusation, on a caste-based accusation. And this is not right.
All right, the officer defending herself there. Moving on, all party delegations led by, or the one led by DMK MP Kadimuri has returned back now. All MPs stated that whenever there is a terror act in the country, there will always be a united front presented by the political parties. Party and politics do not matter. The delegation tour was successful as a strong message has been given on cross-border terrorism. Let's listen to some of those voices who were part of the delegation, including Rajiv Rai, Ashok Mittal and Brajesh Chawda.
जो अच्छे संबंध हो, लेकिन जब देश पर आँच आए तो मजबूती से खड़ा होना चाहिए। सेना के साथ, सरकार के साथ नेताजी खड़े रहे, उसी मजबूती के साथ हमने अपनी बात वहाँ रखा। हमें खुशी इस बात की, जहाँ जहाँ गए सारे देशों ने कहा कि आतंकवाद की लड़ाई में हम भारत के साथ हैं। जाहिर है कोई देश आतंकवाद के साथ नहीं रहना चाहता। हमने उनको समझाया, व्यक्तिगत रूप से मैंने भी उनको भुट्टो से लेकर इमरान खान तक कहानी सुनाई कि वहाँ के जो सरकार है, कठपुतली सरकार है, और सेना आतंकवाद को धूप की तरह चलाती है। जब भी आप हमें सलाह देते हो कि हम बात करें, किससे बात करें? उन्हीं लोगों से बात करें जो आतंकवाद की फैक्ट्री चलाते हैं। तो जब तक आतंकवादियों के कैंप को डिसमेंटल नहीं करेंगे तब तक कोई बात नहीं होगी। सारे देशों ने भरोसा दिलाया साथ रहने के लिए। अब आगे की जिम्मेदारी सरकार की है।
सर, आपको लगता है कि ये पहली बार ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान जो चीज देखने को मिली है कि सारा जो ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन है, सारा विपक्ष एकजुट हुआ है, बाहर गया है, टेररिज्म को लेकर जो नैरेटिव है, यूनिटी का जो मैसेज है वो देने में
आपको या आपके चैनल को क्यों पहली बार लग रहा है? कोई ऐसे देश के ऊपर घटना बताइए जब देश के ऊपर लड़ाई छिड़ी हो, जंग छिड़ा हो, देश एक साथ नहीं रहा। 1962 में अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी पहले बार के सांसद थे। चीन के साथ भयंकर युद्ध चल रहा था, उन्होंने सेशन बुलाने की मांग की और सेशन बुलाया गया था। हर सवाल पक्ष विपक्ष बाद में, देश है तब पक्ष विपक्ष है ना, राष्ट्र सर्वोपरि है। जब देश के ऊपर बात आएगी तो सारे 140 करोड़ लोग एक साथ हैं। आप भी हमारे इतना जिम्मेदार है जितना हम हैं।
एक आखिरी सवाल सर, जो वेस्ट लगातार एक नैरेटिव बेच रहा है वो पाकिस्तान के साइड वाला नैरेटिव, आपको लगता है कि इस पूरे डेलीगेशन मीट से वो नैरेटिव को हिंदुस्तान ने चकनाचूर किया है?
हमने एक्सपोज किया है, हमने उन्हें बताया, मैंने व्यक्तिगत रूप से भी उन्हें बताया। जब हमसे कहा गया कि हम आपके साथ हैं लेकिन दोनों देशों को बैठकर आपस में बात करना चाहते हैं, बात किससे करें? बात किससे करें? आप हिंदुस्तान में बात करना चाहते हैं तो वहाँ एक सरकार है, डेमोक्रेटिक है, एक साथ दोनों देश आज़ाद हुए, एक दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतांत्रिक देश बना, दूसरा दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा आतंकी देश बना। तो जो वहाँ की सेना आतंकवाद को पल पा रही है, आतंकवाद को पोषित कर रही है, आतंकवाद को बढ़ा रही है, आतंकवादियों की फैक्ट्री चला रही है, उससे कैसे बात करें? पहले वो डिसमेंटल करें फिर हम बात करेंगे।
हम 5 देशों से होकर आ रहे हैं, रशिया, ग्रीस, स्पेन, स्लोवेनिया, लातविया, और वहाँ के हम बुद्धिजीवियों से मिले, वहाँ के पार्लियामेंटेरियन से मिले, वहाँ की सरकार से मिले, वहाँ के मंत्रियों से मिले और इंडियन डायस्पोरा से मिले। जो हमारा एक मैसेज था कि भारत उग्रवाद का समर्थक नहीं है, भारत युद्ध का समर्थक नहीं है, भारत शांति प्रिय है, वसुदेव कुटुंबकम में हम विश्वास करते हैं कि पूरे विश्व का कल्याण हो। लेकिन यदि कोई विदेशी ताकतें, यदि पाकिस्तान हम पर उग्रवाद ला देगा तो उसका हम खुलकर जवाब देंगे, उसमें हम पीछे नहीं हटेंगे। ये हमारा मैसेज था। और ये जो भारत उग्रवाद की लड़ाई सिर्फ अपने लिए नहीं लड़ रहा, पूरे विश्व के लिए लड़ रहा है, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान पूरे विश्व में उग्रवाद फैलाता है, उसमें हम अगेंस्ट हैं पाकिस्तान के। ये जब बात हमने सब लोगों को रखी, सब ने कहा यस कि हम उग्रवाद के खिलाफ भारत की लड़ाई के समर्थक हैं और भारत के साथ खड़े हुए हैं, और हम खुल के भारत का इसमें हर विश्व के मंचों पर भारत का इसमें साथ देंगे।
एक और चीज़ सर, आप मानते हैं कि अब जो डेलीगेशन का मीटिंग रहा, जो एक सक्सेसफुल नैरेटिव सेट किया है डेलीगेशन ने, सारी डेलीगेशन ने जिस देशों में वो गए, अब इसको लेकर कि पार्लियामेंट का स्पेशल सेशन बुलाना चाहिए, क्योंकि इंडी ब्लॉक की मांग रही है, आप लोग यहाँ थे नहीं, उनकी तरफ से बात की जा रही है इंडी की तरफ से कि स्पेशल सेशन बुलाना चाहिए, इस विषय पर चर्चा होनी चाहिए। आप मानते हैं कि ज़रूरत है?
देखिए, इस बारे में तो देखो पार्टीज़ के या किसी लेवल पर फैसला हुआ, हर कोई अपने तरीके से अच्छा सोचता है, अच्छा करता है, तो उन्होंने मांग रखी है। मैं समझता हूँ भारत सरकार इस पर विचार करेगी और उनको उचित लगेगा तो ये सेशन जरूर बुलाएंगे।
एक आखिरी सवाल, आप मानते हैं कि जो एक पाकिस्तान नैरेटिव सेट करने की कोशिश कर रहा था, इस डेलीगेशन की जो टूर रहा, जो आप लोग द्वारा मैसेजिंग की, वो ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग रही?
बिल्कुल रही। इस मकसद से ही हम गए थे, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान भारत के खिलाफ दुष्प्रचार कर रहा था कि भारत ने हम पर युद्ध लादा, तो हमने उसको दूर करने में पूरी तरह से हम भी कामयाब हुए हैं, हमारा डेलीगेशन भी। और जो मुझे खबरों के माध्यम से या बातचीत करके पता लग रहा है, बाकी जो 6 और डेलीगेशन थे वो भी इस मामले में पूरे कामयाब हुए हैं कि भारत युद्ध का समर्थक नहीं है, लेकिन भारत उग्रवाद के खिलाफ है, और उग्रवाद को दूर करने के लिए भारत अपने लिए भी और पूरे विश्व के लिए भी खुलकर लड़ाई लड़ेगा, और पूरा विश्व उसके लिए हमें समर्थन देने के लिए तैयार है हर मंच पर।
The message has been very clear. I mean, this visit has been about taking India's message, taking our Prime Minister's message, taking the strong resolve of 140 crore Indians to the world, saying that terror will face consequences, and it's also about telling the world that it is a state policy of Pakistan which is sponsoring terrorism, and India has been a victim of this terror for decades now. We also told the world that we have not just been victims, we have been warriors against terrorism, and we are seeking a global alliance, a global cooperation in this battle against terrorism. And as it was, this visit was as much as about seeking support and solidarity, it was also about showing India's strength and India's position today.
All right, moving on to a breaking news development coming in, a significant one, and that's from Bihar, where the government of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has suspended the Patna Medical and Civil Hospital Deputy Superintendent Abhijit Singh. This is in connection with the Muzaffar minor rape case, that of a minor, and in which we saw apathy, absolute careless conduct of the authorities there at the Patna Medical College and Hospital, where the victim had to wait for about 6 hours before she could be given treatment, by which time her injuries had overtaken all possible medical recovery and she passed away. This happened the day before yesterday. and action now being taken by the Bihar government. We'll try and connect with our bureau chief in Patna, Prakash Singh, senior editor, and get more details. Earlier, the Bihar administration seemed like on the... All right, before we go to Prakash live, let's listen into how the opposition has been attacking the Bihar government on this rape and murder and absolutely unpardonable conduct of the authorities at the Patna Medical College.
आप आए हैं यहाँ खटिया काम जो टूट जाएगा खटिया क्या पाया आपने?
देखिए, आप स्थिति देख सकते हैं। झोपड़ी में हम लोग हैं, बेहद गरीब परिवार है, दलित परिवार है, मजदूरी करके जो है कमाते खाते हैं। लड़की की माता जी हैं जो कि विधवा है, और विधवा है लड़की की जो माता जी जो है वो विधवा है, और उनके बड़े पापा और छोटे पापा यहाँ हैं, बड़ी माँ है, और जिस बच्ची की हत्या हुई है उसके 2 भाई भी हैं। लोगों का साफ कहना है कि बड़ी इसी आंगन में खेला करती थी वो लड़की, मासूम 10-11 साल की बच्ची थी, जिसका बलात्कार करके गला काट करके मार दिया गया। मतलब बिहार में सबसे ज़्यादा बच्चों पर अगर कोई शोषण हो रहा है तो बिहार में हो रहा है। दलितों पे अपराध अगर सबसे ज़्यादा हो रहा है तो बिहार में हो रहा है। ये वही ज़िला है, आपको भी पता होगा, जहां बालिका गृह जैसे कांड हुए, यानी दरिंदे अभी भी जिंदा है। और सरकार जो है पता नहीं कौन सा नशा करके सोई हुई है। मुख्यमंत्री अचेत अवस्था में है। ये डबल इंजन की सरकार कोई सूद लेने वाला बिहार के लोगों को नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री जी आएंगे तो वहाँ लाइन लगा रहेगा, लेकिन गरीब परिवार, पीड़ित परिवार तरसता रहेगा, अपने न्याय के लिए लड़ता रहेगा, लेकिन कोई सुनने नहीं आएगा।
एक और सवाल है
कि PMCH मुजफ्फरपुर तक बच्ची जो थी, अभी इनके बड़े पापा ने हमको वीडियो वगैरह भी दिखाया कि बच्ची कम्युनिकेट कर रही थी, लिख भी रही थी क्या हुआ है उसके साथ। रेफ़र किया गया PMCH, तो 5-6 घंटे इन लोगों को एडमिशन के लिए जो है जूझना पड़ा है। ऑक्सीजन ख़त्म हो गया था, ऑक्सीजन के लिए इन्होंने इनसे जो है 2500 की मांग की गई। अब आप स्थिति देख सकते हैं कि क्या सिस्टम है। इन लोगों का साफ कहना है कि अगर समय पर एडमिशन हो जाता, इलाज हो जाता, तो बच्ची की जान बचाई जा सकती थी। तो हम लोग तो यही अपील करेंगे, पूरी संवेदना है परिजनों के प्रति। एक तो कुछ दिन पहले ही मंगल पांडे हमको बोल रहे थे, चुनौती दे रहे थे, क्या ये डिबेट कीजिए। पहले इस पे तो बात कर रहे हैं, आ करके जवाब देना चाहिए ना। जिस पीड़ित परिवार को आके जवाब देना चाहिए कि क्या किस दौर से ये लोग गुजरे हैं। कम से कम जाने तो कि क्या स्थिति है, तब तो सुधार लाएंगे। कोई सूद लेने नहीं आया तो, और परिवार के लोग सब लोग हैं, हम लोग तो चाहेंगे।
PMCH में क्या कोताही बरती गई, क्या अच्छा, एक और सवाल है तेजस्वी जी कि ये दलित समुदाय से ये परिवार आता है, तेजस्वी जी दलित समुदाय से परिवार आता है और कई दलितों के रहनुमा बनते हैं। चिराग पासवान अभी तक नहीं आए हैं।
अब कौन आए नहीं आए इस पे हमको कोई राजनीति नहीं करनी। हमारा एक मकसद, एक लड़ाई है कि इस परिवार को जो है न्याय मिलना चाहिए।
किस तरह का न्याय मिलना चाहिए?
कम से कम जो अपराधी हैं, पुलिस जो है, ये ना हो कि बेल लेकर के वापस आ जाए। स्पीडी ट्रायल होना चाहिए, कड़ी से कड़ी सज़ा होनी चाहिए। और ये आर्थिक मदद जो है, या तो परिवार में किसी एक को नौकरी अगर सरकार दे, ये होना चाहिए। कहाँ से, अब बेचारी माँ है, विधवा है, कहाँ से और बच्चों को खिला पाएंगी, ये स्थिति देख लीजिए। बाकी हमको लगता है कि आप परिजनों से आप अगर बात कीजिएगा तो
कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर पर आप लगातार सवाल उठा रहे हैं, मुख्यमंत्री के स्टेटस के बारे में भी बोलते हैं। क्या लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सही में चरमरा गया है क्योंकि कंट्रोल नहीं?
जंगल राज चिल्लाने वाले अंधे हो गए हैं। उनको अपने 20 साल का राज नहीं दिख रहा है कि उनके 20 साल का राज क्या है। ये है असलियत बिहार की स्थिति, ये है स्थिति।
All right, Prakash joins us live now from Patna. Prakash, Tejaswi, throwing jungle Raj jibe back at Nitish Kumar. That would have hurt. You think the Nitish government could have been more nimble-footed and acted faster than it has now by suspending that deputy superintendent?
Yes, the Bihar government has taken a stern decision by sacking the Deputy Superintendent Abhijit Singh for lackluster effort, for delaying, and we've got a series of social media posts from BJP leaders as well, specifically Sanjay Jaiswal, the BJP MP from Betia, who is also a Patna Medical College pass-out doctor, and he's categorically said that this was dereliction of duty, because I've been a student of Patna Medical College and there are certain protocols that has to be followed. Once a critical patient arrives in Patna Medical College, even after she was referred, and the Bihar government should be lauded for sacking this particular deputy superintendent. So the deputy superintendent Abhijit Singh has been sacked. Meanwhile, the investigation is on. The suo motu cognizance has been taken by the NCW, and Bihar Chief Secretary as well as the DGP has been asked to submit an impartial report into this. Meanwhile, this suspension has taken place, and Tejasvi Yadav, of course, hitting out at Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar for the deteriorating law and order situation. I was with Tejasvi Yadav in Muzaffarpur today, and he slammed Nitish government for the jungle Raj that prevails right now at the moment. He has called Nitish's government the jungle Raj. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prakash Singh, joining us there live from Muzaffarpur, in fact. Moving on, CDS Anil Chauhan has issued a strong warning to Pakistan, saying that India will not tolerate nuclear threats. He has also said that Asim Munir spewed venom against India just few days before the Pahalgam terror attack, and hence connecting the two. The CDS further said that India will not tolerate nuclear blackmail anymore. Take a listen.
Officially, we know in 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And probably Ziaul Haq gave form to this particular doctrine of 1,000 years war. And someone added this 1,000th touch into it. And similar kind of venom was spewed by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just few days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam. So, since this is a recent decision, it can be also, I believe, that retracted because now Pakistan is faced with a different kind of a prospect that it faces military action in case we find terror happening against us. And also, we said that we'll have water as well as, this thing will not flow together. So, we have kind of raised the bar. We have connected terror to water, and we have drawn out new lines for military operations against terror. Sometimes I feel this particular policy also got accelerated after Pakistan acquired nuclear weapons, and they tried to exploit this stability-unstability paradox. That's nuclear weapons will provide stability, strategic stability between the two nations, and below that, this terrorism can contain. But of course, what India has done now is there are now two red lines. Between these two red lines, it's opened up the space for conventional operations. So that's a major change which has happened after Sindoor.
As crackdown on red terror intensifies, the security forces have recovered over 2,500 kgs or 2.5 tons of explosives looted by Maoists in Odisha's Sundargarh district. Here is the report.
The security forces recovered over 2.5 ton of explosives looted by Maoists in Odisha's Sundargarh district. The security forces conducted a major joint operation along the Odisha-Jharkhand border with Special Operations Group, District Voluntary Force, CRPF and Jharkhand's Elite Jaguar Force. According to the Western Range DIG, the operations are still underway and only 2.5 ton of explosives have been recovered out of 4 tons which were looted by the Maoists. The security forces recovered the explosives from different forest locations during the joint operation. Significantly, the operations have been ongoing since May 27th, and the primary focus of the security forces at this stage is on recovering the explosives rather than making arrests.
Well, let's look at some of the stories from across the country in Bharat in 2 minutes. According to C.S. Rao, the Additional Chief Secretary of the Tourism and Civil Aviation Department of Sikkim, a significant progress has been made in evacuating tourists affected by heavy rains in the state. He stated that so far 1670 tourists have been safely evacuated from Lachung and an additional 30 people were rescued from Chaten today. He also underscored that the efforts are underway to airlift 130 stranded tourists from Lachin, with the operations expected to continue all day. NDRF teams have been deployed to north of Sikkim in response to the ongoing disaster in the area. One V5 helicopter has landed at Pakyong Greenfield Airport, deploying teams from the National Disaster Response Force. The NDRF units are equipped with satellite phones and essential emergency equipment. The first sortie of the day, comprising 23 NDRF personnel equipped with essential supplies, has successfully proceeded towards Chaten from Pakyong Greenfield Airport. Lok Sabha MP Gaurav Gogoi has assumed the presidency of the Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, succeeding Bhupen Kumar Bora. As the party prepares for the assembly polls next year, Gogoi's leadership will be crucial in shaping its strategy and campaign. The transfer of charge occurred at the Congress headquarters in Guwahati, with Gogoi now at the helm of the state's main opposition party. BJP leader Dilip Ghosh criticized Digvijay Singh's reported statement on Operation Sindoor, questioning the Congress party's stance on terrorism. Ghosh pointed out that during the terms of former Prime Ministers P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, Pakistan's attacks and shelling did not evoke a strong response from the Congress government. PMC has cancelled a tender worth crores of robotic rescue machines from a Turkish company. The machines were intended to be installed at 6 Chowpatty beaches in Mumbai to aid lifeguards. The decision comes in response to Turkey's stance on supporting Pakistan following the Pahalgam terror attack. And a short break coming up. On the other side, it's the biggest confirmation on Republic. Military advisor to Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor confirms Pakistan's nuclear command center was hit.
Is here. Is your home ready for the heat? Keep your roof cool and your home comfortable all summer with Roof Cool and Seal. पसीना मत बहाओ, बर्जर रूफ कूल एंड सील लगाओ।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुलें तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I have been involved marginally in the review activities for the Indus Water Treaty sometime in the 1990s. I don't remember the year. But at that time, the feeling seemed to be from the Pakistani side that they could get away with whatever they wanted. It's important to remember that the creation of Pakistan was in 1947. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. 13 years later, because some fellow in Pakistan realized that the headworks of the irrigation system of the canals built in British Indian Punjab were in Madhapur and Ferozpur, both in India. So India gave them some money, I think 6.5 crore pounds sterling in order to build their own systems, etc. But they use the money to build Tarbela and the other dam, which is Mangala Dam, which is on the Indus, and the other one is on the Jhelum. Now, so they've not been honest right from the beginning. And whenever we wanted to do something as far as the Indus River is concerned, they would always say that, look, this treaty has survived so many conflicts between India and Pakistan, nothing is going to happen. However, they did not know that this time they were dealing with a person called Narendra Bhai Damodar Das Modi, and we'd had enough, especially after the Pahalgam attack, that the feeling was that, oh, India will make some noise, India will lodge one protest here, there, everywhere, go to the United Nations, cry on America's shoulder, and then things would be back to normal. But this is not the India that they were used to. Now, what is the impact of this? First of all, as far as international matters are concerned, international conventions are concerned, the Indus Waters Treaty, which was signed with facilitation by the World Bank in 1960, it can be nullified at any time if the circumstances during which it was signed have changed materially, either in terms of demography, in terms of the climate, in terms of utilization of the water, etc., etc. So India is perfectly within its rights, and Pakistan knows this, to nullify the treaty, which is why they haven't rushed to the International Court of Justice, even though that has no jurisdiction in the matter. They've kept quiet and they're trying to settle it bilaterally, which is what India had been saying right from the beginning. But as we say with Pakistan, give them a tight slap on their face, then they will understand what's happening. So the first issue is that we are well within our rights to nullify the treaty. We've kept it in abeyance. It's a wonderful term that we use. Basically, it means, look, brother, go climb the nearest peepal tree. You are not going to get any more water from the Sindhu River and its 5 daughters. What happens then? It's going to take, I believe, because I'm special advisor in Kargil and in Leh, spoken to many experts there, and what they have said is that it's going to take anything around 24 months.
I have seen what it takes to report from the front lines: accuracy, courage, urgency and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not theory, it's live learning from a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, Republic School of Journalism is where you begin. Courses begin on 30th June. Apply now.
Thank you for joining us here on Republic TV as we look back at Operation Sindoor and the impact that our military precision strikes have had on Pakistan and Pakistan's nuclear and military facilities. There are more details emerging, and we have the big breaking news update on how we hit them harder than we actually thought. Here are the headlines.
Well, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously, you didn't target. It got hit, and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there.
It's the biggest confirmation on Republic. Military advisor to the Defence Minister during Operation Sindoor confirms Pakistan Nuclear Command Centre was hit.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
Lieutenant General Khandre confirms Pakistan's nuclear facility getting hit was the biggest turning point, and fear gripped Islamabad. It gets worse because Pakistan has admitted large-scale damage. Internal dossier revealing more targets were hit by India than revealed earlier.
In 1965, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared a 1,000-year war against India when he addressed the United Nations Security Council. And And similar kind of venom was fueled by General Asim Munir against India and Hindus. Speak just 2 days or weeks before what happened in Pahalgam.
Chief of Defence Staff Anil Chauhan, while speaking on Operation Sindoor, hits out at the Pakistan Army Chief. Failed Marshal Asim Munir saying that venom was spewed by Munir against India 2 days before the Pahalgam attack. Karnataka High Court pulls up Kamal Hassan, the actor and politician, asks why no apology yet. Says public figures can't hurt public sentiments. Telangana Congress chief sympathizes with Maoist terrorists, questions why there are no talks with armed Maoist terrorists. As India fights Maoist terror, there are some within the political fold, mainstream leaders, political leaders, who speak like sympathizers of Maoist terrorists. One such leader, Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee Chief Mahesh Kumar Gaud, questioning centre stance on Maoists, says if truce can happen with Pakistan, why not with Maoist terrorists? Meanwhile, Republic has confronted the TPCC, the Telangana Congress Chief Mahesh Kumar Gaud.
कगार इशू में हम पहले से साफ करते आए कि कांग्रेस की जो लाइन है वो लाइन अहिंसा है। हिंसा किसी की तरह का हिंसा हो, चाहे वो नक्सल्स की तरफ से हो या सरकार की तरफ से हो, हिंसा नहीं चाहते हैं, हम अहिंसा चाहते हैं। कगार के इशू में जो फोर्सेस नक्सल्स को सराउंड करे, हमको ये बताया गया है कि 3 बार वहाँ से मैसेज भेजे कि हम आर्म्स छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, सरकार से पीस टॉक्स के लिए तैयार है। देखो, आदमी जीने का फंडामेंटल राइट है। एज पर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एवरी मैन हैज़ ए राइट टू लिव, नो वन कैन कर्ब द राइट ऑफ लिविंग। कगार के इशू में पीस टॉक्स नहीं करते हुए सरकार के फोर्सेस हमला करे, और हमारा डर यही था कि वहाँ बहुत सारे सिविलियंस थे। नक्सल्स के अलावा वो एरिया में बहुत सारे सिविलियंस थे, हज़ारों के सिविलियंस थे, उनका भी रक्तपात होता बोल के हमने पीस टॉक्स के लिए मांग की। आज भी हम पीस टॉक्स के लिए मांग कर रहे हैं। और तो अब
आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है उसको आप कंटिन्यू करते हैं। आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है उसको
अभी भी हम मांग कर रहे हैं कि पीस टॉक्स होनी चाहिए। जब पाकिस्तानी तो विदेश है, उनसे हम सीज फायर करें। जब अपने देशियाँ हैं, नक्सल्स तो अपने देशियाँ हैं, लेकिन उनकी विचारधारा अलग है, हम उसकी विचारधारा को हम नहीं अपना रहे। लेकिन पीस टॉक्स के लिए जब कोई संस्था आगे आती है तो सरकार को क्या दिक्कत है पीस टॉक्स करने के लिए।
Getting some more breaking news now from Jammu and Kashmir, where a POK-based terrorist property has been attached by the police in Jammu and Kashmir. The police in Ramban has attached properties under Section 25 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. There is a big crackdown on terror and anybody linked to terror. Those linked to terror, properties of those linked to terror also being attached by the police. These are the pictures that came in. Gursimran joining us with the details. Gursimran, if you can tell us more about the details of this terrorist. From the initial details we have, he's a terrorist based in POK. Is that correct?
Yes, Niranjan, he is a terrorist based in POK and has been identified as Muhammad Ali alias Ibrahim Sheikh. He is operating from the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and in the year 2024, that is last year, an FIR was registered by the Ramban police because of his involvements in attempts to revive terrorism in the Ramban district and in the nearby areas. Now his property measuring 1 canal and 11 marlas worth lakhs of rupees that has been now attached by the Jammu and Kashmir police in the Ramban. This is in the Sumbar area of the Ramban, which falls under the Dharamkund police station, where the police has carried out this action. This has been done under the section 25 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act that gives the police power after obtaining an order from the designated NIA court for the attachment of the property, and this order was issued by the Doda NIA court with regards to the attachment of property of Ibrahim Sheikh. Now important to mention that there were some inputs that were prepared based on the intelligence that this person, the terrorist based in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Muhammad Ali alias Ibrahim Sheikh, he is trying to sell off his property and then to use the money minted from the same for the terror activities, and that's why this preemptive step has been taken by the Jammu and Kashmir police in the Ramban district, where his property has now been attached by the police authorities. Niranjan.
All right, thank you for joining us with those inputs. Those are pictures that came in earlier. Gursimran sent those details of property attachment of terrorists and those linked to terror in Jammu and Kashmir. Getting in some more news now on the bulletin. The National Commission for Scheduled Castes has issued a formal notice to the Telangana government seeking an action taken report on a remark made by a senior IAS officer, Alagu Varshini. The IAS officer has spoken to Republic TV. She has said that her voice was modulated. This is her response.
The video or the audio clip which was circulated was a very well edited and crafted and voice modulated version of a 2.5 hour discussion, which is an internal discussion we have with the principal. So to make my principals understand the difference between the livelihood and the needs of the children, yes, I did use those terms, but this is absolutely not with an intention, in harming a society, and I have not mentioned any words like that. And
So you are saying that your audio clip which is being circulated is edited?
Grafted, edited version, and also it has versions which have been spoken over 2 or 3 different meetings that we took place, which has taken place in Zoom.
But why is that the toilet cleaning has to be done by the students? Because there are allegations, there are talks that the residential society doesn't have sanitation staff also to do such works, and that is why the students are being made to do this.
That is totally a false allegation. In fact, none of the sanitation staff are removed. And also from the
staff, you have complete staff?
Sufficient staff. And let me put it in note to you, all the Navodaya schools in its curriculum have the same practice of Shramdan, 1 hour per week. It is the same system that we are adopting. Why not adopt a good system from any established organization which has been there for years and practiced successfully? So from this year onwards, we have also included in our curriculum that 1 hour of Shramdan, which includes in 1 week they will be doing ground cleaning, in 1 week they will be doing residential block cleaning, which also includes the bath and toilet area cleaning. But the clip is very well modulated and it is repeatedly being used as an accusation, on a caste-based accusation. And this is not right.
On to the big exclusive here on Republic TV, ladies and gentlemen, on Operation Sindoor, as we look at the kind of damage that our armed forces have inflicted on Pakistan's military and possibly nuclear facilities. The military advisor to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh during Operation Sindoor, while speaking exclusively to Republic TV, has said, that is Lieutenant General Khandre has said, that India did not specifically target nuclear bases in Pakistan, but those bases, he says, got hit. Listen in to this big exclusive.
I want to then perhaps also take it a little further, because there was a lot of talk happening that the nuclear sites were also being targeted. Was that true? Did we actually manage to at least come very close or somewhere close?
Okay, you remember what the DG Air Ops mentioned?
Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hill houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. Okay. And we've not hit Kirana Hills, whatever is there. Okay, I did not brief in my briefing yesterday. Thank you.
In fact, media person asked him that, did you target? And he said, you tell me. So obviously at the international level, are you going to say that you targeted? Obviously you didn't target. It got hit and it put a lot of fear and apprehension in the mind of the people there as to what is
Was
the
that the
condition.
turning point?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
The very fact that they got nervous that we have come that
Many
close?
things, you know, not only one. In exactly that half night that you think of, if you reached Noor Khan Air Base, what is it?
Where were we going further? Because I understand that's when all the calls were essentially being made by the Pakistanis ki ab band karo.
So, if you've hit very valuable targets, so you've chosen your targets well.
Right.
If you hit them so hard that they've got to reach out to you, so you've done your delivery of your arsenal very well. So I think that by itself, what did you hit? How quickly did you hit them? How hard you hit them?
What I meant to ask, were we stopping there? Had Pakistan not dialed United States of America, then would India have stopped?
No.
So we had something up our sleeves.
So, see, every escalation ladder, we were always on top. No?